Oh, yes, I know you will take care of me, will provide. Man, I'm telling you, I can't ever forget this one here. Mama C, good morning. Said I wasn't going to tell nobody, but I just can't keep it to myself. But I just can't keep it to myself. Yes. I'm telling you, man. Come on, don't get tired. Don't get tired. Let's go. Let's go. Let's take it up another notch. Let's take it up. Let's take it up another notch. Let's go. Take it up.
Good morning. Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Good
can hear you.
morning.
Can you hear me?
Good
Yeah.
morning, Bishak. Good morning. Good morning.
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 How you feeling over
Eh,
there, P-Shack?
Well, the potassium levels just went back up, but other than that, I'm good.
Okay, okay. Pray on me
Glenn, good
today.
morning. How you doing?
Man, taking it easy, man. Taking it easy.
Hey,
Yes,
Glenn, can you
sir.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Anthony. How you doing, man?
Okay.
Once
Awesome,
again,
awesome. Thank you.
Anto, how you keeping, man?
You know, the Lord got me, man. He's definitely keeping me with the same mind, with the sound mind, bro.
Man, amen, amen. Man, you see, that's the good thing, man. You see, when you know the Lord, man, you can rest comfortable in His arms, knowing that He got you
Did he
in
cut us off, Ant? Can you hear us?
whatever the situation is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, you ready? Are we ready to go live?
Oh yeah, we're live already.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, we're
Hey,
live. We're
man.
live.
Hey,
We're li-
well, first of all, I'm glad I'm alive. You know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Yeah, last night was different. It's different. See,
man.
I'm in the hospital, so it's different, bro. And yesterday was literally the anniversary of my father's death, and I ended up in the hospital. So that's
Oh
crazy. But God
God,
is good, and He's faithful, and He's consistent,
yes,
and He does exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think.
that's right.
So, Amen. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm more excited. Three of my sons who shows no emotions. My oldest son texted us and said he was crying, and I'm like, whoa, I ain't never expected that. My middle son, Shamanik, he was concerned, and Shako. So I was just reading Copilot, and it was just saying, when men open up, they saying that they need you. They need you. So you know, learning to see stuff differently and expressing who we are as men. I don't think we express who we are as men, and then we're excited when we find out our sons really care. So I think that's what we should focus on today, talking about sons, because they're not going to always make the best decisions, but we didn't make the best decision as sons. Somebody prayed for us. Somebody had us on their mind. Somebody took the time to pray for us. So I'm so glad they prayed. I'm glad they prayed. So, but you see, I'm trying to cover up this hospital gown.
Yeah,
But I'm excited, man. I'm excited with life. I'm excited with understanding who God is and how He shows up and how He shows off. I'm excited for Therapy Thursday. I'm excited that last night wasn't my last night. Because the enemy have a way of trying to play with your mind, play games, but God. So today is one of them but God days. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just excited, man, to know how God shows up and shows off. I'm excited to know that we're raising great men, even though sometimes they frustrate us, even though sometimes they get on our nerve, and we don't think they're doing good, but the world tells us a different story about our children, that they're not like everybody else's kids. They might be out here acting different in public, but the truth of the matter is we're doing a good job. And the reason I know we're doing a good job because we're getting up every morning praying for them. And they know that we're praying for them. And That's the amazing part right there. They know we're praying for them. And that's the part I'm excited about. I'm more excited about that than anything else in the world. So yeah, man. AL, how you I'm checking in on you this morning. What's going on with you? Is AL still there? Anthony Lewis still there? Glenn, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Just, you know, making sure AL know and checking in on him. How are you doing, Glenn? I know you had some stuff going on, but how are you doing now?
And it's a lot better now than it was before, just giving thanks, it could have been worse, but I figure that there's some things that I need to do as a father also to make sure that you foster that relationship with you and your son. And things are working out pretty good right now.
I think that's good. You know what I'm saying? That we come to the understanding of it's some stuff we got to work on too. You know what I'm saying? And as long as we working on what we need to work on, man, God does exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. So that's the part I'm excited about. You know what I'm saying? Um, can you can still see me, right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not seeing you right now.
Okay. I'm a get this thing done 1 second.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about um how we show up as men and how we show off as men. And
Right.
sometimes it gets crazy because men are different. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that people don't understand. Men are different, and nobody told us what we had to do to to live this life as a man. And
Hmm.
that's the part I'm excited about, that we get the opportunity to make better decisions.
Yeah,
We get the opportunity to even with the reflection of our kids. You know,
that's true.
what our children, we get to express who they are and who we are. And we're learning
Mm-hmm.
because they have a tendency to remind you who you are.
That's so true, P Shack. That's so
Uh,
true, man.
they'll tell you in a minute who you are. And you have to remind them, I ain't Superman. You didn't come with instructions. So I'm doing my best. The heck? So, that part right there is a little scary. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
also, today is Chris Bell, MacArthur's birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just hit him up. I'm trying to figure out how to
Right.
get my cord. I'm gonna have to ask a nurse to hand it to me. But I'm trying to figure out how to get my cord. I don't want to be one of the people in the hospital that's a pest. But I'm trying to get my cord for my phone won't die. But yeah, man. If someone get a chance, could I get the cord to my phone? Because I know if I get out the bed, the alarm gonna go off. All right, thank you. But yeah, they have a tendency of letting you know what you've done wrong and what you haven't did right. But then there are times when we realize, man, they just trying to figure it out themselves. The same way we tried to figure it out. And that's the part I'm excited about, bro. That we're raising, at the end of the day, we're raising some great men. And we have to understand that's what we're doing. So I'm excited, bro. I'm excited about life. I'm excited about how God shows up. I'm excited about how he shows off. I'm excited how he does exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask to think. And when we make a mistake, that's it. We just made a mistake, you know? Sometimes they're gonna say something they ain't got no business saying, and they're gonna find out. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That we can talk about it after the fact and we can figure it out, you know. And that part right there is exciting. That they can figure it out, we can figure it out, and we can start working together as a team. And that's the part I'm more excited about than anything else. That we're working together as a team. That we're raising great men. They're not out here being murderers. They're not out here carrying guns, doing all kind of other stuff. They're just trying to figure it out. And because we are fathers, and this is our first merry-go-round, we're trying to figure it out as well. So that's the part I'm excited about. So I don't know who else is on the line besides me, but if anybody else is on the line besides me, hey, let me know. Honorary Joe, whatever that is. You
I'm
know.
on the line. I just had clicked over. I'm on the line. I'm on the line, PJ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
So
I'm
that's
here. I'm here.
it said it's four of us. That means somebody else is on the line as well.
What's up,
The Lord.
Shaq?
Who is that?
It's Mac.
Mac. Happy birthday, Mac.
Thank you, man.
You're an OG now?
I'm almost there. I'm 39.
Almost there.
Yeah,
You know what I was doing at 39? No, I was just playing.
I hear that. You still a young man.
Hey, man, I was out there playing hoop, dunking at
Facts.
39 in my
Big,
dreams. In
big
my,
Shaq. Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
what's
man. But happy birthday,
what?
man.
Thank you. What's going on? I don't want to make it too personal. I know we're on a public line, but
Oh,
man,
no,
share
it's
with
good. My
what's
potassium levels went up and they
uh huh.
were so high. I was dizzy and I was lightheaded. So I guess I came to the hospital in time and they're trying to catch it. So last night it was fine because they gave me all this medicine to bring it down, but it shot
Yeah.
my blood pressure up. Now my blood pressure is down and the potassium just went back up.
Mm,
So, and you know how the enemy does play games with you. Yeah, this your dad's anniversary of his death. And then all my sons
mm.
tripping, Shamar going through it, Shamanic going through it, Shako going through it. But I'm good, bro. God got me. He didn't bring me this
Right.
far to leave me, and I didn't come this far to turn around.
That's right.
So I'm good. But
You
how you
sound
get?
good.
How you
Sound good.
feel? 39, bro. You ever thought
Oh
you was gonna be
man.
39 with a wife and kids?
I thought by then I would be, but I didn't think I'd be that for as long as I've been. If that makes sense.
He does. So
Yeah.
how long you been a husband and a father?
I celebrated 13 years last Thursday, and been together for 17 of those 17 years, and yeah, I got a 13, soon to be 9. She'll be 9 in 5 days, and then my soon to be 6 year old. So
So when you look back 17 years ago, you expected you to be where you are today?
nah, I thought I'd still be running around with Dwayne. God bless. In some capacities, still doing my thing, man. Still in the studio. But when I locked in with her and I locked in, and if we actually had our child out of wedlock, had our child in March, and in June we got married and went down to the courthouse and did that. But um, that's when life kind of said, "All right, you can go this way, or you can go that way. Which way you which way you want to go?" And I put music down and I got a job. Some would say I squared up, but I think I just stepped up to the plate, you know. So
I think that's great. I think the choice that you made probably saved your life.
for sure, in many ways.
Yeah, that's how I look at marriage.
Yeah.
When I got married, all the foolishness had to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then
man.
and then children came, and life just turned. But life is great. I'm looking at life now. I'd rather choose this part of my life and be
Yeah,
alive than still doing stuff that I was trying to figure out. Cause you in school now, right?
yeah. I'm still in school.
To be a doctor, right? Is it gonna be Doctor Bill?
Well, that would be the ultimate goal. Right now, I'm just pursuing my bachelor's, so it's not in science; it's in business administration. But I just knew that I wanted to complete at least that, and then and see where God will have me to go, because I feel like this is not necessarily something that I've desired to do more than it feels like it's something I'm called to do.
Okay.
To set that standard, that example for my son, because if he sees that, because to them the bills are paid, when they ask for stuff, they get it. Even if it ain't from me, it's from the village. So if he sees that, he can have a certain lifestyle without, a degree. I mean, he's got a rude awakening on the other end of that. And I don't want that for him, because that's kind of what I've had to deal with, regardless of my charisma or my skill, my talent, to get in the building and work the job and be the best on the whatever. It's the paper that qualifies you ultimately, and will determine your latitude. And so I want him to have that as a foundational piece of his fiber, to know that, hey, you got to put in the work. And it's not just graduating high school. You got to put in the work, get your bachelor's at the very least. If you feel so inclined, get your master's, get your doctorate, whatever, and go as far as you can go.
which which I think is great because me, Net, and all the kids was in school at the same time.
That's dope.
So me and Net both have
That's dope.
doctorates. We both have doctorates, and you know, some kids went one way, other kids went the other way. But what they did know was that we put aside, even though we sacrificed for them, we still pursued a higher education.
Right.
So they have no excuses. They can't say my dad wasn't there, my mom and dad didn't go to college. They have
Right.
no excuses. We made
Right.
sure that they had no excuses.
Right.
And that was our biggest goal. Like we're not gonna give you the room to sit around with your friends and complain about my daddy wasn't there.
Right.
Wasn't gonna let you complain about my mom and daddy didn't even have an education. No, that wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
Because my parents didn't get a higher education. You know what I'm saying? My
Yeah.
dad, I think, went to the second grade. Mom went to the sixth, but they had 14 kids and they did a great job. He was always
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
I figured if he can be there with with the length of education he had, retiring from two jobs and still taking care of family, I can do better. And not trying to be better than him, but that he set the platform for me to go higher. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I think that's
Okay.
what you're doing for your kids.
So let that kind of brings me to a question. I don't know if we have a topic today, but
No,
let me
we
sh-
don't. We just shooting the breeze.
okay, so now on that same vein, today is actually coincidentally the anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. So that's
Oh,
how I get to remember that is he died on my birthday, 2009, right? So
wow.
yeah, so it's bittersweet because you hear all the music, but then you remember, hey, his life didn't have to end this way. Now, I also last Thursday just watched that Michael movie for the first time. I
Oh,
thought it
okay.
was great. Yeah,
It was
I
great.
bought it when he came out. I thought it was great. Now, in the context of this conversation, does the world need more or less Joe Jacksons?
Wow. Well, I think without Joe, it wouldn't be Michael.
Okay, but I mean, if you say that, be prepared for the barrage that comes with that, because everyone is willing to defend Michael on the other side. Like, he didn't have to be like that, and he should have showed him more love, and he should have accepted. And it's like it goes literally both ways, but that's the duality of the conversation. Is that
But that was Joe way of showing love, making sacrifices for them to be who they want to be, even though they didn't
Yeah.
know that's who they was gonna be.
Right.
So I can't get mad at Joe because Catherine was the emotional part of
The
who
balance.
Joe wasn't. Right.
Yeah. So you saying as long as there's balance, it's okay to have that in the house? It's okay
I'm
to have
I'm
a pit bull?
I'm just saying, my father was a pit bull. He didn't get when he got
Okay.
mad at you, he just shot at you. He didn't even you just learned how to run, hit the streets running.
Okay.
Or one time he fired on me, I hit him back and he beat the brakes off me, even though I called the cops on him. He
Yeah.
said, I'll be back. But the balance of him and my mom made me who I am today.
But would you also, can I argue that you need a father's love as much as you need a mother's love?
Oh, you need a father love more. But
Okay.
we don't see the father love because our generation don't let us see how hard the father is working and what the
Yeah.
dad and the sacrifices that the dad is making. That the dad can come home tired as a dog, and you can ask him, "Daddy, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do that?" And you haven't even given him time to breathe, and he
Yeah.
still try and he shows up. And some dads quit because they don't get the recognition. To yesterday, last night was the first time. I know my kids love me because every night we
Yeah.
text, but last night was the first time all three of them, Shamar, who's not sensitive at all, don't show no emotions, put in a group text. I'm over here crying because what if you're not here? Shamanic is like, you need to answer your phone because I got to talk to you because we need you. And then
Mm.
Shakol said, hey, you need to do this, 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 and that. So all three of them showed up different.
Yeah.
And that was the first time, and I had to go to Copilot and put it in Copilot. And it's saying it's hard for men to show up. But my sons, all three of them showed up last night. And I seen it from a whole different perspective. Like, we need you. We don't
Mm.
care what the world talking about. We need you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you need a dad to be whatever he has to do to show you love, whether it's discipline. I was talking to Glenn and he said he had to discipline his son, but his son just kept puffing his chest. And we know that our kids, when they get like 16, start smelling themselves, get a little girlfriend, you know, and at some point we're gonna have to introduce ourselves to them differently.
Yeah.
And even Michael, when he got his little
Yeah.
monkey, he was like, yeah, he don't like people who are not sensitive or something, he says.
Right.
He was trying to
Yeah.
be a smart aleck to
Yeah.
Joe. And Joe
For
just
sure.
shook his head like, boy, you better get up out of here, boy.
Right.
Because
P-Shack,
go ahead, Clint.
you know, hey, let me say happy birthday to you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
As you were talking there just now, it just brought me back to, I believe it was last Thursday. Last Thursday, this time, I was not able to even be on the program the way I wanted to be. Like 2 Thursdays ago, I think it was. Yeah, 2 Thursdays ago. All because of what you're saying. Um, and this is how I look at it. I had a incident there with my son where, as you said, they get old. They think that they're 18 and they're grown, right? But
Mm.
something to the point that we my son and I got into a very heated altercation, and it got real physical, right? Um, but what I'm saying is that even though I showed up and had to introduce myself to him differently, I had to take some time to look back and say, man, you know what? As a father, what did I go wrong, or what do I need to do a little different? because simply giving advice to him, thinking that he's so grown that doesn't need to there's no way I'm gonna allow you to be in the same house with me and walk past me not even saying good morning. And I don't think any father would accept anything like that.
Mm.
Let alone not even the father, but anybody wouldn't accept that. You're not we're not enemies. And even the enemies don't stay in the same environment for long like that. So I'm like, listen, bro, you can't be doing this. And because he got a little size like me, and he tried it, and he stepped up. So I had to silence him a little bit. It's not what I wanted, but then after the fact that happened, he started crying for his mama. I was like, bro, you're a man. You wasn't talking mommy when this was happening and all of that, right? But at the same time, I began to listen to some of the things that he was saying to his uncle, my uncle, and some other people and so forth, and I had to realize that, you know what, maybe I need to do something different. Because he was saying he never wanted that. All he wanted is to have a good relationship, Because this, mind you, this a kid didn't grow up with me, right? He did not grow up with me. He grew up with his mom, and we talked about that. And this mother's raising sons and all that, and we got into a heated argument with the mom, even also on that, because I'm saying to her, listen, you got to let him grow up and be a man. You got to let him stop bailing him out and let him figure things out on his own. He's 18 now. He's a grown man, yes, as he would normally say, you know. So let him do things on his own, not just every time he's in a trouble or a situation he calls you to bail him out. And that's exactly what happened. She started doing that, and you know, if he wants something from me, he would go to his mom, and then she would come to me. I was like, no, let him come to me. Those kind of things that was happening before it got to the point where we got real physical, and I didn't back down because I was like, listen, I'm the wrong person you want to try that with. Don't throw your hand at me. You know, I've never disciplined you in that kind of way as a child growing up all your life. Yeah, but don't feel that that daddy's soft because he a Christian. And the first they say, oh, what kind of man of God are you supposed to be? And you throwing your hand at and you hitting your child. I was like, listen, I'll take you out before the cops gotta take you out, because
That part.
I'm like, you don't put your hands on me and think that you're gonna get away with it, because if you try it once, you're gonna want to try it again.
Right.
So sometimes you gotta really let them understand, hey, there's a line that you don't cross as a child. And if we don't put that mark, then they're gonna try anything with us.
Right.
And but I listened to what he was saying to some of the people, and I take notes from that, because I love my kids. I love them all. I love them all, and I do my best and try to show all of them love the same way. Even if I'm not there, I'm always thinking about them. Always try. So I started doing something since then, Pishak. I started calling. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait for him to call me. I call like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I start checking up, because I listened to the voices of the other people, and what he was saying to them is that all he wanted is to have this relationship, proper, and I gotta say, I thought we had a good relationship, but basically it wasn't that, and I'm telling you, I gotta blame myself for that. I gotta blame myself for that, because when his mom and I separated years ago, and we she decided she was going to move on and so forth, you know, I basically start taking a back seat. And I'll tell you the reason why I did that is because she got married and she had her husband there. And one time I remember he was being very disrespectful to the husband and constantly. And when they told me, I got on the phone. I got on the phone and I told him, listen, your mama's made some decisions. This is what's best for you. You were living in that man house. You're going to respect him. Just
Right.
the same way you respect me, you're going to respect him. Right. And I said, tell them put the phone on speaker. And I spoke to her husband. I spoke to the guy, and I said to him, you know, and today him and I got a great relationship, very good relationship until now, you know. But I said to him, I said, like, listen, I want him to hear what I'm saying, because that's why I tell him, because I like, listen, if he ever disrespect you, I am giving you permission to cut his ass. And you know, probably wasn't what he didn't want to hear at that time, and I believe that's where the relationship kind of go, because he thinking that as a dad you're supposed to got his back, but no, I got your back. I want you to be raised right. I don't want you to go out there, a man, you in this man's home and telling him, oh, you're not my father, so you can't talk to me. Nah, I wasn't raised that way, and I'm not gonna allow that you to do that to another man, you know, because I wouldn't want that for myself. And quite clearly, he thought that I pretty much abandoned him at that moment. I left my responsibility. No, yeah, I'm gonna discipline you, but you're not man home. You gotta listen to his instructions. You gotta go with these rules in his home. And that's pretty much what it was. He thought that, you know what, I didn't love him, I didn't care about him, and all these things. You know, as kids grow with these things, and they have that in their mind all the time for these many years, man. But you know, I thank God that we were able to talk and iron certain things out. It's not the way we want it to be at this time, but listen, I am making every effort to fix the things that I feel. Um, I, I did more listening, I should say, listening to what he had to say and try to work on me, because sometimes we can see all the things that's wrong with them and not realize that, okay, let me try to understand what's wrong with me also. And I think with that approach, I've been seeing that things are getting a lot better. We're able to talk, communicate a little more than usual, and it's great. But the point is that you don't allow them I w- I don't allow a child to ever try to think that he can. I don't care if I might be old and gray with a stick, but we're gonna go down with a fight. You
Right.
know, you're not gonna try that with me and think that, okay, yeah, you got little muscles, you got a little size, that you're tall like as I am, and you can try that with me. Nah, listen, I'm gonna take you out. You know,
So, so back to Joe Jackson. Maybe the era he came from was a silent era, that I'm making all these sacrifices. I'm working in a mill or wherever he was working with all this dirt, hard work, struggling, taking you out to all these shows, going back to work at night. And then, um, okay. And could you hand me my plug? Because I'm doing a thing. All this stuff he had to sacrifice, and everybody want to say he's a bad guy. But he made sacrifices. And of course, people are going to see the negative part of it. But I don't care what nobody said. If it wasn't for Joe, it wouldn't be Michael. That's all I'm saying. No Joe, no Michael. And I know everybody want to ride on the that's the plug right there. Everybody want to ride on, oh, he should have been more. All of us got kids who are sensitive, you know. But
I
I
agree with
promise you,
you.
no Joe, no Michael. who brought him to the platform, who made him who he was. He could have been a great singer in Indiana and nobody would have never known him. But who made that? Joe. So Chris, I'm pro Joe. I'm sorry. I know Chris at work, so I know, but at the end of the day, I'm pro Joe. Can you get it?
Yeah.
You know, no Joe Jackson, man, no Michael Jackson. And maybe they could have had a different relationship, and maybe the money and everything made things different, and everybody try to manipulate Michael for they can get their benefits. But no Joe, no Michael. He kept them alive all that time. He made them sacrifice. What's his name? Donald lived in Indiana, and he said they could have been some great singers in Indiana, deceased. But without Joe, there wouldn't be no Michael. And I think as we step up as fathers, we got to understand that, hey, we doing the very best we can with the information that we got. And as we get mature and as they grow up, we become like you, Glenn. We start listening. And as we listen, then we make some changes in our listening. I mean, every single night before I go to sleep, all of them get a text.
Can I eat some orange juice or something? Your sugar's
Yeah.
low.
I get some orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so no Joe, no Michael. I'm sorry. And yeah, we need to learn because we came from parents who can communicate. We came from parents who didn't let us know what's up. So Chris and the other people on the line.
Well,
No Chris, no Joe, no Michael.
hey, Shaq.
Go ahead.
Hey, Shaq. So, hey, gentlemen. So, we know that works because the industry, Hollywood, shows you that it works because since James Evans, we ain't had one on TV. I mean, it works. There haven't been one on since James Evans. It works, and they didn't want that to work because their system they needed to work wasn't going to work. If they portrayed that, if they let them know that, hey, this man is needed in the home for these young boys to be young men, respectful, responsible, like anybody that you come encounter if I'm not here. You know, back in the days when my mom used to, because she was, she raised two boys on her own. I had a weekend dad, and when she said, hey, I'm not around, you're still representing me, so that respect level does not stop. If you go to your aunt's house, you go to your cousin's house, your friend's house, I'm there still, but I'm not there physically, so we were afraid of the friend's mom, because all my mom was a phone call away. So we always still had, but we always respected we loved our friends' parents, their moms or their dads, whatever. We all, that's the neighborhood we came up in. Different era, right? And man, every male I knew back then growing up, every male I knew, fathers and uncles, they had that James Evans in them, working hard, and still being able to have that discipline with boundaries, and a respect level. Bro, we just don't see it now. We see these kids running amok because of, like you said, I guarantee you, who was that? Mac that said it earlier about how people are saying, James didn't have to be that tough. But all the ones that are saying that, I bet you are maybe 99.999% women saying that.
Right. And the other part about that, bro, was the lady who played Florida Evans, she told Norman Lear she would not be a single mom in the ghetto without a strong black man.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what, and he got that part perfectly, and and if y'all remember the episodes, I remember them. I used to watch it. I still watch it. Still, I remember this one episode where Michael's friend was over, but Michael was doing homework, and his friend should have been doing homework, but he said, "Oh, I'm gonna leave Michael alone," and he said, "If you don't get your butt back over here, and you in my house,
whooped him.
He whooped him. You gonna do that homework, and he probably never got that whooping at home. His daddy probably wasn't there, but you gonna do this homework. Come on back here.
And even when you watch Bill Cosby and Claire, even though they wasn't real hard disciplinaries, them kids respected them because they knew the outcome, the
Well, that's
subliminal
where everybody got.
outcome.
Right. Remember everybody started quoting that. I brought you in this world and I'll take you out.
I'll
Remember
take
he
you
said
out
that?
of this. Hey, bro, I think that was the best line in every black family household, bro. Cause we knew they wasn't playing, bro. We knew nobody in the community was playing. I brought you in this world and I'll take you out of this world. And we took that literally. And maybe we've been a little softer on our kids, and but long as I believe, long as they know you there, I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. That they
Check.
know you're there.
Let me pop in real quick. All right, so let me spike the punch. Cause I agree with what you're saying. Cause I had and my dad, I had the care or the and my mom was hard. So it was like I still had that balance. For the sake of the conversation, my dad was more the Catherine, and my mom was the Joe Jackson. But I understood. I think all throughout my life. So it never was like a deep rooted hate or disdain. All throughout my life, I knew that it was all rooted in love because my mom, at the end of the day, knew how to come back and say, I love you and I just wanted what's best for you. And yada, yada. And maybe that psychologically bent me both ways, but I was even killed because of my dad would always reiterate, was already. So I'm telling you, she don't be that way. Some understanding. So always some type of balance is able to reconcile mentally and physically my pain. Right
Right.
now, what I'm asking because I want to help the fathers for today. Can there be no that
You're breaking up a little. Chris, you still there?
I
I think,
am? Can you
okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead. You said you want to do it for the dads today. And what do
Okay,
you
yeah, so can there be a Joe Jackson that exists today? That archetype. If so, why or why not?
so I don't think he has to be as tough because Joe Jackson came from struggle. You know what I'm saying? And this generation has every generation past Joe Jackson haven't struggled as hard as Joe Jackson. So I'm saying he don't have to be that abuser, but I think Joe Jackson came from abuse, and that was the only way he knew how to communicate to me. And his way of communicating was, you're gonna listen to me. We can sit down and have a conversation, and then if it has to end up like Glenn said, that's different. But
Yeah.
you can still be a Joe Jackson. I'm not mad at Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson took them from Indiana, 2300 Jackson Street, to his song is the
And
number one song, and he's been dead, what, almost 17, 18 years?
to Encino, from Gary to Encino, for sure.
Right. And
Yeah.
he's still the number one across the board to this day
And the way the
because of
story is
Joe
told,
Jackson.
the way the story is told is you start to hear some of the fibers of his dislike of I don't want to say hatred, but his extreme discomfort and dislike of Joe and his presence. You got me working day and night. You know what I'm saying? You're a vegetable. Nobody like you. You're a vegetable. Like, come on, dog. Like, that's all rooted from past. He was looking at a picture of Joe on the wall while he's freestyling and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And but those are some of the greatest hits that we learned to love and remember Mike by. So, okay, I'm with you. We need a Joe Jackson to get Mike out of Gary and get him to Encino, get him to the next chapter. But do we need Joe to still be Joe? And Joe ain't got to go to the steel mill no more. That was his number one gripe. I'm not working there no more. I'm tired of that. So y'all gonna make, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you go from, all right, now I'm comfortable. I'm in my office in LA and I'm still pushing and still bleeding you out and hanging the family dynamic. Because that's the part we haven't talked about. It wasn't just this, it was a manipulation. And
I,
Mike knew he was so down and about his family that he couldn't turn his back on his family. He would turn his back on Joe in a minute because he was
but
tired of it. But you
but
know,
I think Joe was afraid to let his. I think Joe was afraid, bro. I think Joe was afraid if I let go, I'm gonna lose him. That's what I think. I think Joe was afraid.
that's deep.
I think he had to keep that grip because he knew once Michael became Michael, he wasn't gonna. It wasn't gonna be
He,
no more Joe,
he wasn't gonna need him no more. Yeah,
right? Because then once Michael became Michael, then Catherine started being Catherine. She quit
right.
letting Joe get her. You ain't gonna touch my son no more. So Joe kept. I think Joe kept that because of fear. I think Joe was fearful that he was going to lose everything if Michael came into who he was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
you
That's
got
deep.
Amar right there too. Amar, what's up? Are you a Joe Jackson, or do we still need Joe Jackson? Did we
That's
need
deep.
Joe Jackson to make
And see,
Michael?
all of that sounds
Any,
layered in just if you don't ever deal with your own past trauma, then you kind of pass it down to the next generation. No matter how
That
you look
part.
at it, even if it was
well,
like
well, you
abuse,
know,
and you say like over the years, we've gotten away from, and some will argue not enough of that, and others will argue that they only did that because they didn't know how to use their words. So it's really a two-sided coin.
it is. It is. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good morning. Good morning. Um, and what I was told is that Joe
Hey, Amar, if you
Jackson.
talking, you muted.
No, I hear him, Mac. He's talking. So
Nah, but see, that's
the
not good
first
because
part
everybody.
is just to let you know, Amar. Today is Mac's birthday, and he said it's Michael Jackson's anniversary death. That's how he
I,
remembered. You can't hear us?
I'll be back.
He gonna come
I
back.
can't hear
He gonna come
Amor.
back.
I can't hear Amor.
No, he coming back. He said he'll come back. But yeah, Mac, I think at some point Joe could have got some mental health help. But I think Joe was afraid to get some mental health help because he was so busy being angry. Um, Angry took Joe to help his kids to become successful. Go ahead, Amar.
Okay. I don't know if everybody can hear me, but good morning. Listen,
Come in.
we need Joe Jacksons. We need Joe Jacksons. We need. So listen, man. Like Chris said, it's a double-edged sword because listen, I didn't like having to spank my sons, but I had to put um them in check. I had to put the belt to their behinds every blue moon. And it wasn't often. It wasn't often at all. But I got spankings. I got chastised. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother and my grandfather, they didn't like having to spank us or anything of that nature, but they did. They did. And I turned out fine. My siblings turned out fine. You know, we had one that kind of went astray for a hot second, you know. Uh, he went in and out the prison system for a hot second, and then he got himself together.
then he got himself together. Because, you know, folks still can stray. It doesn't mean that you're going to be on a straight and narrow. But listen, if Joe Jackson didn't do what he did, they would not be the Jacksons. Period, point blank. He instilled in them a work ethic that was unmatched. Yeah, and it might have been a little extreme to some people, but for him to be great, for Michael to be great, and for the rest of them to have the careers, and they were great in their own right, they had to have Joe Jackson. And I was told that Joe Jackson lived in Oakland first,
Yeah.
and then he moved to Gary, Indiana, and then that's when everything took place. But he had to go back there to get work, in the steel mill or wherever he was working and doing what he was doing. But listen, what kind of discipline is that for a man? Because the Jacksons just didn't make it. Um, they weren't an overnight success. It took a while. This man would have to get up in the morning, go to work 8, 9, 10 hours days, come home, work with his kids, and do everything he needed to do to get them prepared. And then once he did all that, I mean, and this was daily. And then he would have to take off from his job to take them to go do a show somewhere, come back home, work. And this man fed his family for years and did everything he needed to do to care for his family, to get his family to where they were in this industry. And everybody want to act like Joe Jackson is the most terrible man on earth. Nah, you know, the part of the problem with a lot of youth is that they don't have strong fathers.
Right.
You know, part of the problem is these kids are running around here, they have no accountability. These kids are running around here, they don't have nobody to tell them, stop, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't. Everybody want to put him in timeout. Put him in timeout. Oh, go stand in the corner. Oh no, I'm gonna take your iPad from you. If you don't act right, I'm gonna take your iPad from you. Come on, man. Come on, man. Listen. We're raising responsible men. And mostly all of the men who are great in this world had some type of strong father figure. And I'm not saying every last one, because there have been some strong mothers, but there have been some mothers who wasn't playing. There were some
Right.
mothers who wasn't playing. I'm not having this, I'm not having that. You can't do this, you can't do that. Go to practice, go to this. So who do you think made these great men and women great? Somebody that had to make them go to practice, get up, do your homework, study, do this, do that. It just a child is just not going. A child is not just going to sit up and be, oh, mom, I have practice today. Mom, I got to go to training today. Oh, mom, I need to hit the track today. Oh, mom, dad, I need to work out today, dad. What kid is going to do that? Oh, and let's get it straight. You're a child, so how you gonna get from here to cross town to do that? How you gonna get from school to do that? How you gonna get from there to do that? If it wasn't some strong person pushing them, encouraging them, and doing what they need to do. Now, for the most of the people, now I'm not. Now, there's been some cases where kids have been motivated because they've seen um, um, other kids and other families, and they wanted to do some of the same things. But it's always that one house or two houses in the neighborhood where Mr. Johnson, Mr. Smith was there, and so although that kid was didn't have a father in the home or whatever, they saw something in some other family that wanted them to motivate them to do that. And so that parent would be like, okay, James, yeah, you can come over here. You can go with us. You want to go to practice? Oh, you want to play? Come on. And somebody else took a vested interest in that child. So
You need
People
the
might have
Joe.
caused what Joe Jackson might have did, abuse and all that kind of stuff like that. But I can remember plenty of times when I tried to sass my grandmother or say something that wasn't right. Man, Eddie Murphy wasn't lying. Boy, she'd take that shoe and throw it across the room and hit you right upside the head. And my grandmother told me one time, she said, I didn't mean to bust your lip. I didn't mean to bust your lip, but I'm not gonna have all that back talk. You okay, boy? How you doing? Come here, let me look at it. Yada yada yada. But she busted my lip. So come on, man. Come on,
So
man. Quit acting
so,
like Joe Jackson was the worst thing that walked the earth.
so
No, Joe
Max said,
Jackson took care of his family. All 10, 12 of them, whatever, however many it was.
so Max said his mama was Joe Jackson and his father was Catherine.
I can't hear you.
We hear you. We hear you.
Could you
He
hear
don't-
me?
yeah,
Can you hear me?
I hear you. I
You
hear
can hear
you.
me, but I can't hear you.
Right.
I
So
don't know what's
so
going on with this raggedy thing.
so can the rest of y'all hear me?
I can
I'm
hear you.
going
I can
out,
hear you.
going out
Go
and
ahead.
coming back.
Okay. So Donald, today is MacArthur's birthday. He said this is Michael Jackson's anniversary. Would it, do men need a Joe Jackson, or do this generation need a Joe Jackson in order to become a Michael? I'm paraphrasing because to me, without Joe Jackson, there wouldn't be a Michael. And maybe later on in life, Joe should have went and got some help. But because of Joe's stress, because of Joe's struggles, because of all the stuff Joe went through, Mac is saying his mom is the Joe Jackson, his father is the good dude, but he needed that balance to be who he were. And we got on this subject because he said today is his birthday and today is Michael Jackson's death anniversary, which is totally crazy because yesterday is the day my father died, and I'm ended up in the hospital on the same day he died. So I had a Joe Jackson. He probably wasn't as dangerous as Joe Jackson, but he used to shoot at us. So hey, I had a Joe Jackson. So Mac, you still there?
Man, it's Mac B Day.
Yeah,
Man,
I'm
Yeah,
here.
man,
yeah.
happy birthday, brother. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you, man. Thank you.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes,
Go,
indeed.
so go ahead, Mac. Finish it
Happy,
off before we go to Donald.
happy birthday.
That's pretty much it. When I think about the conversation, I realized that I was having it. So Anthony was spot on. I was having it with my wife. It's like just trying to be. I don't want to say trying to be contrarian, but I like to step back from the situation and evaluate without my emotions. I'm constantly doing that, and so when I realized that all the work that the dad was putting in, yeah, he was. It was the kids' talent that ultimately garnered their success. But without the leadership and the firm leadership, there was no, oh, the babies have to go to sleep. He didn't say, oh, okay, well, never mind then. And we can't like evaluate that metric of success and say, okay, if the kids go to bed at their bedtime and they don't put in that extra time when everybody else is sleeping, will they become this or will they become that? We have no way to gauge that. I mean, there's plenty of other super groups and successful groups, specifically from that time era. We would have to go back and see who their fathers were in order to say, okay, this is an archetype that will garner the success of the Michael Jacksons, say the mint conditions, the Tonys. In order to have this level of success, you need this as the battery in your back. So I mean, it's a conversation about breaking the generational traumas, of physical abuse, verbal abuse. Because it'd be times my mom said some stuff to me. I'm like, that you don't even. I know you don't believe that. What I'm saying? Ain't no way. You don't believe. You didn't believe it when it came out your mouth. And somebody said that to you, and you said it back to me.
Right, right.
But until I'm able to see that, I'm just going to continue that. And yeah, society is getting softer along with our parenting styles because we're becoming more and more conscious and aware of what this does long term. if I'm beating my kid constantly, I'm telling you this is what love is, then who's to say that kid doesn't grow up and beat the hell out of his wife because that's what love is?
Right.
Or beat the hell out of his kids. And then what have I done to play a part in that? So I mean, this is we talk about the success of the Jacksons, but yeah, it's deeper than rap too.
But
But we
think
don't
about
know. But we don't know how bad he beat his kids. I'm not. And I agree with you. We're not talking about beating like putting kids in the hospital and they got bruises and marks all over their body and all that kind of stuff like that. When we talk about kids getting spankings, um, that's one thing. But you talking about beating. I remember my homeboy used to come to school with bruises and um lashes all on his body and stuff like that. Now that was abuse. It came to the point where his father beat him so bad at so many times that he killed his father. Um, and and that was a shock and that was terrible. But his father, when we say beat, we need to categorize or whatever what that beating looks like because we could be using the term too loosely, like we were talking about the last time we was talking about mental health or something like that. When how people you just throw terms around, and although there are serious cases of mental health issues, some people are like, "Oh, that boy mental. Oh, that boy mental," and people say it so much that when it comes to somebody really having mental health issues, it's almost like somebody cried wolf because um, you don't you, we just we throw the label out there so much when there's a serious issue about it. So when we say beating, like boy, that boy got a beating for that, I know for sure. But it's just words and how you use them, so we have to be careful. um Joe Jackson might have disciplined his kids, he might have spanked his kids, but we don't know if he beat his kids.
but
So it's
but look how tired we don't even look at the fact that Joe was tired. You know what I'm saying? Joe was tired, bro. Like you going to work all day, practicing all night and traveling the road, and then you got to get up after the road and go back to work. So a lot of that stuff could have been, I'm tired and you ain't finna talk back to me. You ain't finna talk crazy back to me. And maybe his son was expressing himself, but when you tired, sometimes you ain't feeling you ain't finna talk crazy to me and I'm tired.
But
I'm,
that's crazy. That's even like just that point alone is like I'm taking my whole day's worth or my week's worth of frustration out on you now.
yeah, and he did. I think a lot of that is like the sacrifices I'm making, you don't even respect what I'm doing for your future. And because society wanted to take advantage of Michael, they they made Joe
It
look
keep
like the
glitching.
bad guy. And they making us think Joe was the bad guy. But where we come from, that's normal. And maybe it shouldn't be normal. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that should not be our norm, but it is our norm.
What about
Yeah.
five?
Okay, that's good. You know what I'm saying? And so we are do we really get mad at Joe? It's the people who ain't never got disciplined is mad at Joe.
Right.
And no, you keep going. And the majority of them people ain't melon. Because people melon, it was normal. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? We like, okay, he got a whooping. We know all kind of kids in our community got whoopings and they parents beat the brakes off of them. We like, well, I bet he won't do that next time. I
Mm.
remember my friends and them was drinking, and they was like, "Oh, you a punk? You don't want to drink with us?" I was like, "Dude, it's a dude at my house. If I show up at his house drinking, he gonna beat the brakes off me. So I can care less what y'all say. I ain't drinking. I ain't drinking. I ain't smoking. Because at the end of the day, I had enough fear and love that I wasn't finna get beat. And
Mm.
he wasn't beating people normally. So you know, you couldn't influence me to do anything. because I knew the consequences of what I was gonna do. And out of all the one, they show Michael get beat. They don't really show the rest of them getting beat because the rest of them was like, man, we ain't finna talk crazy to this dude. 'Cause why they not showing the
Or
rest of
maybe
them?
they'd already endured. Maybe they'd already. That's a big
or ma-
movie. Uh,
or maybe the mama
I'm
coddled, or
like,
maybe the
come on, dog.
I'm
So
sorry.
let me. They all got beat. I can kind of, I kind of know them a little bit from Gary. They all got beat a little bit. Um, but the one thing I'll say is, I think Joe get a bad rap, but he saw something in his. And I mean, for if it wasn't for Joe, none of them would have been where they were at. And then Joe also, people forget Joe was in music. Okay, that's how he started. He was in music. Um,
Mhm.
so at some point he saw something in Michael, and then people don't realize him forcing Michael, but Michael was asking to be in the group. So then at some point Joe put him in, let him sing, and found out, oh hell, this boy
Got
might be the
talent,
most
huh?
talented. He might be the most talented out of all of my boys. So that's some of it. I hate that Joe, Joe get a bad rap because he was in that lifestyle. Because I'm assuming when the second one come out, they'll talk about the abuse of all the kids, because there was abuse of all of them. Just as not as bad as Michael, because he saw something in Michael that he didn't see in the rest of his boys. Janet, I mean, all of them are kind of in debt to Joe now. Janet might be more in debt to Michael because she was the youngest out of all of them. But I believe one of the reasons why kids are soft today and kids have this sense of entitlement is because they don't get no ass whoopings. And I ain't saying beats. I got beat too. Should I? When you got to get a switch to get your
Off the
butt whooped
tree,
with,
off the
you
tree, right?
that's a beating. When you get hit with a stitching cord, that's abusive. Hello,
Don't forget about the Hot World
hello.
racing car track. Hey, don't forget about the racing car track. I'm just saying. But you're totally right, Mac. You're totally right. No Joe, no Michael. That's all I'm saying. And they're gonna take me to get my heart checked. So if I kind of go off, Glenn, you might have to step up and manage it because it might go off in the elevator.
What you doing in the hospital?
Potassium high. They're gonna check my heart right now. Yesterday I was in the hospital. I've been in the hospital going on 2 days now.
Your potassium high.
Real high.
Oh,
Enough to be admitted.
yeah, yeah. We'll be praying for you.
Hey, keep praying for me. But y'all can carry the conversation. MacArthur, today is MacArthur's birthday. Don't forget to wish him happy birthday. And
Yeah,
it's
happy
Michael
birthday.
Jackson's anniversary.
Happy birthday,
Thank you,
brother.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Um, but I just think,
Yeah. You from
Joe.
you from Gary. So you know where
Yeah,
2300 Jackson Street is at.
I know exactly where it's at. But when people forget though, once right around about 10, Michael was gone. They were gone because then that's when they gone to LA by then. Now the boys were in high school because they went to Roosevelt. But about the time Michael took off, they were out. They were in LA.
So he went to middle school in LA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But but
But
don't you
they
think
they,
it
they
wait,
don't.
but don't you think the fact that Joe he worked a full-time job, practice all night, And then Joe really had to be available to take them to all them shows with no help. And then he was tired. I don't care what nobody said. He was
I think
Hey,
he
tired.
can
was
I
tired.
ask y'all
Yeah,
something?
I think he was tired. I think also, as you gain money, because the other thing is he did a good job with their money. Because you never heard until later where he was trying to do some things, but for the most part, he did a good job with their money, which a lot
And
of parents
Catherine could
don't.
have been helping him with that.
Which a lot of parents don't do. But he made sure his stuff was good too, as he should. But I think when you accumulate money like that, and he was in that lifestyle already, people don't talk about the infidelity, but it's you have to be very strong, especially when you start making money, to stay away from the women. And like I tell everybody all the time, like everybody be tripping on our players, but we get hit on all the time as coaches. Like it's mamas that hit on me all the time. I mean, if I was a woman, I hit on me too, but I'm just saying. but
But
I mean,
but
but all the time, it's just not the players, coaches get hit
I'm
on. So
saying,
that
but you think
lifestyle,
some
so
of them
you,
be
you
doing it for manipulation?
probably, but it's just the fact of that if you, and this is where some stuff, if you're not in God, man, some of that temptation in your life, it's bad. And only God can help you with a lot of that temptation. You know what I mean? So it's a twofold thing for me because if it's not for Joe, we probably don't know the Jacksons because the way he did push them. Mom was there as comfort, but mom also took care of the household. So you got to always give her props. And she was there for more so Michael because Michael was the one who was getting the brunt of it, but he got the brunt of it because of the talent. And so, but Michael been liking animals since he was younger, so that didn't just happen as he become a teenager. So it's just there was some weird stuff with him. Now, could that be because of the beatings? Probably. But Michael didn't really have a social life as a you think about this as a middle schooler because he was so famous, he can't have no friends. He got a bodyguard always with him. The kids want to take pictures. I mean, so there's a lot into that. When kids become famous, there's a lot into all of that stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, if Joe didn't do what he did, there wouldn't have been no Jacksons. There wouldn't have been no Michael. There wouldn't have been no Janet. And then you got to give mom credit too, because mom, at the end of the day, she kept the family together because she knew what Joe was doing. Once they became famous and Joe had some little money, he out there screwing around. She do, but she felt like it was more important to keep the family together. So I mean, I can, some people say stuff about getting whooped and stuff like that. I turned out all right, and I got some whoopings. Everybody I grew up with got whoopings, and a lot of them are doing pretty well for themselves. So, as we always say, you do what what you saw done to you. Now, for me, I get it all the time from my older kids because of these twin girls, and my wife even said that. My wife be like, "Them twin girls, them twin girls changed you when they were born." I mean, I probably can count on my hands how many times I've hit these twins. Actually, hit them. Um, but hell, them boys got it. All three of them, even my wife's son. But sometimes girls will do something different to men too. You know, but um, man, I just you have to think about everything, and I get the whole abusive thing because my mom got beat by my my brother's father, and he was abusive to girls for a little while. I don't believe he's doing it now that he's married. I think he had one encounter. So that stuff can follow you as well. I saw my mom get beat. It did the opposite for me. I never wanted to put my hands on a woman because of what I saw with my mom. Matter of fact, if I see a man do it, I'm likely to go say something or do something which my wife don't like. But so it could do the opposite for you too.
Yeah, man, it definitely can. Um, it's a balance. It's a balance. I'm sure that Joe uh, has some discipline stuff, but I'm sure he showed his kids a lot of love as well. You know, um, I know for myself, man, I had to definitely discipline my kids, and I remember. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I remember my mother-in-law said, uh, "Those boys are gonna grow up hating you," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever," um, because I loved on my sons. I kissed my sons, and I'm always kissing them on the forehead. She playing with them and all that kind of stuff like that. But when they wasn't doing something right, and then um, in her same breath of saying they're gonna grow up hating you because you're too mean to them and da 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 da, they would they would try to take up for them, her her mother and her at times, and then say, "I'm gonna tell your daddy on you. I'm gonna tell your father on you." So you wanna villainize me one minute, and then you want me to be the disciplinarian the next. So let's fast forward to today. Me and my sons are cool. They, I chop it up with them. They call me, "Yo, pops, what you doing?" "Pops, man, I'm going. Man, what's up? What you think about this?" Yada yada, talking to me. Won't. It, you know, uh, my son Jalen, he brings the kids over, and he throws his kids in my arms and stuff like that. And he'll if I was a bad father, he wouldn't even want his kids around me. And so, people, it's people's perception of what they feel you should or shouldn't do. But and it doesn't make me the greatest father in the world, but um I could say my kids ain't never been in no real trouble or anything like that. Kids get in trouble, but they ain't been in no real trouble where I got to be out here, stressing and all that kind of stuff like that. And so we have to do what we need to do uh, to make sure um, our kids are set on the right path. But then again, it's a balance too. It's a balancing act. You know, there's a lot of kids. I remember being in a barber shop one time when I used to cut hair in the barber shop. There was a conversation about men loving on their sons, kissing them, and all that kind of stuff like that. And I was like, man, I was like, dude, I kiss on my sons. They was like, no, we ain't having none of that punk stuff. We not having none of this around here. It's man, no, partner. I don't do this and do that. And I can remember them saying a lot of the brothers just trying to be hard. And unfortunately, because I remember everybody, unfortunately, some of their sons have been incarcerated or murdered or just not on the right path. And that's not all. Uh, but we were in the shop in East Oakland where everybody came to. Um, and so you look at some of these kids now, man. And I remember one, his son, he was around here robbing banks and everything, but he didn't want to love on his son. He didn't want to. No, we ain't having none of that punk stuff. Come on, man. It's what we've been conditioned. It's how we've been conditioned. Um, it's just it's a balancing act, man. Ain't nobody got it down perfect. I'm not saying my way is perfect, um, but it's a balancing act. And as you said something earlier, brother Don, you know, I mean, if you ain't got God in the middle, in the midst of that equation, it's gonna be a lot tougher too. It's gonna be a lot tougher. So we have to, and a lot of these kids out here, man, they need love. They need hugs, man. There was a youngster that played on. He grew up in the community where he was on the baseball team. Good little athlete. Played on the basketball team. But all the parents used to be like, "Oh, Cavante ain't gonna be this. Cavante ain't gonna be that. Cavante ain't gonna do this. He yada yada yada. Oh nah, he a little hell raiser. Da, da, da." I mean, they was just. But me and my wife, we was like, "Man, you can come over," because him and my sons, they were cool. They played. They was on the same AAU team together, basketball, all that kind of stuff. And we uh we let him come over. Man, you come over, and he'd come over, and he would just be the coolest. He would just be the coolest. He had a lot of love, a lot of respect. And then when we get ready to take him home, man, he would be crying sometimes. Can I just stay another day? Can I do this and do that? You know, his environment at home wasn't it wasn't conducive to his liking. And we showed that dude a lot of love. And it was amazing that folks would be like, he this and he that. Oh, he be doing this. He does that. He yada yada yada. But he never did that when he was with us. Never did that when he was and we just be like, yeah, you can spend a night. Yeah, you can come over. Yeah, we going to. Yeah, we'll take you to practice with us. Yada yada. But you know, of course, being in his environment and so many people dismissing him because we couldn't be there all the time and everything. Um, and he was from Richmond, California, and he ended up, um, you know, some things didn't turn out so great. Uh, but I think about him all the time, man. I think about him all the time, and I don't know. Could I have done more? Maybe, maybe not. But we have to. These youngsters need structure. They need discipline. They need to be loved. Need to be loved on. Um, and that's the
They,
problem, man.
they need us, man.
Absolutely, sir.
They need, man. I don't know. You remember Leon Poe back in the day?
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of people don't remember Leon Poe was homeless. He was in a group home when
Mm.
the Oakland soldiers found him.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Now because of his talent, some people took him under his wings. But now I hear he's a heck of a father to his son.
Hmm.
But Leon Poe was a foster kid.
Wow, wow. And because some people probably took him under their wings and showed him some stuff like that, and then him understanding that, man, I gotta do this different for my kid. I gotta roll this thing out a little bit better. Yeah. Sound like somebody in a car wash. Yeah, man. Is I did not know that, but see, everybody's journey is a little different. So when people say you can't do this or you shouldn't do that, people come from different places, different backgrounds, different mindsets, and the whole 9 yards. Um, and so when, as P. Shack call it, the melanin or non-melanin, um, it's funny because uh, the correction side of the game is that they'll say you need, we shouldn't touch our kids and this and that and put them in timeout, or that's abuse and that's abuse. But also, um, that's how we kept. It's amazing. They don't want you to touch your kid at this and that, but they're so quick to throw your kids to put these charges on you, put your kids in foster care, put your kids CPS, call CPS on you, all that kind of stuff like that. But then they don't do anything for your child to put them in better positions. Um, and I think because of the laws and everything that they implemented, it it it, it put us in a catch 22, because now you can't touch your kids, you can't do this or do that, you can't parent your child the way you need to, and now your kid is out of control, and so now they want to snatch your kid up and tell them, oh, you got behavioral issues. He has this and this and that. So we're going to put him in detention. We're going to suspend him. We're going to do this. We're going to do all these different things. Or we're going to medicate your kid. We're going to do all these different things. And now your kid is out of your hands, and your kid is in the worst position that your kid could possibly be in. Um, and that's not every case, but it's part of it. It's part of it, man. It's part of it. And you said something earlier, Don. A minute ago. You was like, it takes us. We have to be the example. And a lot of the youngsters that my sons grew up with, and all that kind of stuff like that, turned out, some kids turned out to be some great kids, and a lot of them, um, they call me unc or pops, and they be like, man, I'm just trying to do it like you, pops. Man, got the family, man, doing this, doing that, and they the example, that you give some of these youngsters, man, hey man, it's amazing, man, and I'm thankful uh, that God has kept me somewhat grounded mentally, spiritually, emotionally, uh, and that when people see me or see me and my wife, that uh, they got something to mirror. They have something to mirror, man. We're not perfect, but we got a little bit of something. We got a little bit of something. You just need, as God said, everybody got a measure of faith. You ain't got to have all the faith in the world. You just got to have a measure of it. you know, that faith the size of a mustard seed. We know a mustard seed ain't that big. So he ain't asked you to have a cantaloupe size, watermelon size faith. He just said the size of a mustard seed. So we just got to do things a little different, man. A little different, man, for sure. Pishak must be getting some treatments or something going on right about now. Doctors must be in there. Well, we praying everything's gonna be cool with him. You know, uh, just taking care of ourselves, man, making sure that we are um, able to be here for the long haul and be able to be in a position to care for our families, be here for our wives and our children for as long as we can. We know we all have an expiration date, um, but while we're here, can we be in the best health that we could be? Can we function and move the way we need to? All these different things, man. It's this thing called life. This the journey of life, man. There's so many twists and turns, and we don't know what today, the rest of the day is going to look like. We don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. Um, Today could be our very last day, man. So, we got to do things different, man. We got to be a little different. We got to love a little different. Because knowing that tomorrow is not promised, you can't say, I'll make amends with somebody tomorrow. I'll call them tomorrow. If somebody pops up into your mind, reach out. Even if you don't call them because you don't feel like talking, um, just talking to them because they might exhaust you a little bit. Give them a text. Give them a text. But like, hey, chopping it up. I'm ripping and running. About to go into a meeting. About to do this or that. I mean, we're gonna fabricate it whatever way we need to, just so that way the actual phone call don't have to happen. Um, but at some point you do need to verbally talk to somebody. Um, but man, if they cross your mind, send a text. Hey, thinking about you. Man, I'm ripping and running, but we'll chop it up later. How you doing? You good? Want you to know I love you. We ain't talked in a while. We'll definitely catch up. Man, get it out. Get it out, man. Because for every action, there's a reaction, and you might get a great reaction, positive or whatever. Man, I try to love on people, man. I try to, when I think about somebody, I try to be the first one to reach out, and then normally when I do, they're like, uh, "Man, I was thinking about you, man. Dang, I hate you hit me before I hit you because I was just thinking about you." It's like, yeah, man. So yeah, we definitely need to reach out to our people, man, family, friends, whatever, brothers and sisters and stuff like that. I chop it up with my brothers and sisters. Um, as much as I need to or can. Um, and not saying that I missed the mark. I'm just saying it in the sense of as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? I be in the car driving because I'm in the vehicle all day. Hit them up. Hey, what's happening? What are y'all just out here doing deliveries, doing this, doing that? Just tapping in. You know, having trouble using the app. I'm watching on YouTube. Dwayne, dang. Try to get back in, family. Let me see. Let me see. He chatted. Let me see. Comments. Or did he text that? I think he texted that. Um, Try and get back in. Okay. Just text him back. Tell him try to get back in. Yeah, man. I tap in. I tap in. Um, I got one brother. Uh, he don't never call. He don't never call, but I'm always calling him, and then when we do, we chop it up, and it's all good. And it ain't no and it's not, and it ain't no issues. I just got to be the one to call all the time because he just don't pick up the phone like that. Um, and call, but he will answer. He will answer, or if I say hit me back, he will hit back. But just him calling, he don't just call. Uh, so somebody asked that. I remember my uncle. He said one time. He said, "What's up, P Shack? You good? Can you hear me?" I see his face pop up a little bit. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Uh, if not, I just been talking to myself. Oh man. Um, P Shack, can you hear me? Put a thumbs up or something.
Yes, sir. I hear you
Oh,
fine.
okay. Oh, okay, cool. So my uncle one time said, uh, "You guys are my family. Um, the rest of them over there, they ain't my family." I said, "Why you say that?" He's like, "They don't never call me. They don't never call me. They don't never reach out. They don't do this or that. I consider y'all my family." I said, "Well," I said, "Do you reach out and call them?" Man, what did I say that for?
Thank you. I appreciate
What
it.
did what did I say that for? He was like, MF, MF, let me they don't call me, so I don't call them. And I said, somebody TV on loud or something. Somebody need to mute their TV.
It ain't the four of us on the line. So it ain't Mac
Somebody,
and it ain't me. So
somebody need to mute their TV, or mute themselves. So anyway, he was saying that we were his family because we always talk and he never talked to them. And I said, "Well, how do you ever reach out to them?" "Man, I don't need to reach out to them." Man, he just started going off, and I said, "Well, man, listen. When I think about somebody, I said, well, I consider them family. I talk to them all the time." I said, because I don't care about if they call me or not. If I think about you, I'm going to call you. So I got a great relationship. "Well, that's you. I ain't calling them mother da 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 da." And I said, "Well, you say the only family that you have is us because they never reach out to you." I said, "But Unc, you don't reach out to me." Oh, what did I say that for? Oh, what did I say that for?
you was
Oh
causing them
man,
problems, bro. You causing
oh
problems.
man, he called me every MF. You just told me we family. You just told me we family. Boy, he called me every MF from here to Texas. Because I checked him on you calling somebody out and saying somebody ain't family because they don't call you, but you don't call us. But you consider us as family because we were I mean, we were definitely closer than them, but it goes both ways, man. It goes both ways, man. Um, you gotta reach out, and the other family members gotta reach out. But then at the same time, I'm the type of person that I don't care if you don't reach out. I'm not gonna be the person to be like, "He don't call me, so I ain't calling them." Oh man, get out of here with that. If you think about somebody, call them, text them,
Yeah, I
because
definitely agree.
today,
I agree.
yeah, because today might be the last day you ever able. And the thing about that is, my uncle and I became estranged with each other because you already, but you and you already know this, P Shack, because of everything with my grandmother and everything. Um, but it was me who went and mended the relationship and um got back talking, and he was like, "Man, I love you, nephew," and we really chopped it up. And shortly after that, he died.
Wow.
So all glory to God that my heart wasn't hardened, and I tried to make sure that we we made amends, or that we mended the relationship. And so, man, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that, man. That was
That's
God's
similar to what
favor.
happened with you and Jeff, huh?
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. So, man, somebody gotta do it different. Somebody gotta be bigger. Somebody has to be the one to do it, to be that, to stand up, act like you got some sense. And it ain't, and it's not that much mad in the world.
Well, I'm well, I'm guilty too because somebody put me and my son on the phone, and only thing I said was I don't have no problem with him, but Shamanik reminded me maybe he wanted you to say something different, and that's why he got mad. And my bad, I wasn't really feeling good, and I wasn't really wanting to be in a conversation. It wasn't even with him. I just didn't want to be in a conversation. Period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he got all mad and started screaming and hollering. I was like, that is not a reflection of that's a reflection of who he is. But thinking back what Shamanik said, maybe I should have said something different. And because I didn't say nothing different, he probably took offense at it. So because it's probably been 5 years since we was even been on the phone together. So I get
Right.
it. But I, I'm
Yeah,
I'm
man.
st- I'm still no Joe, no Michael. I don't care what nobody said.
Yeah, man. Listen,
And
listen,
and
man.
I'm
But
and I'm not saying only Joe. Look at the type of father you was. You was a disciplinary, and Mick and Jalen, Jelani, he could do no harm. But
right,
but because of who you are, your daughter's playing. She's in college. Jalen went to college and raising three great. He's a great father because they looked at your example and they like being around y'all because of your example.
absolutely, man.
So
Absolutely.
a father is important, bro. At the end of the day, I don't care what America says because they the ones destroy black families. They the ones got black fathers out the house. They the ones who got them on drugs and screwed them up, and now they want to say they're absent. But statistically, if you look at who's in the family, it's more of us who are taking care of our kids than any other culture. Everybody else working, trying to make money, don't got time for their kids, and we're the
Mm-hmm.
ones stepping up for our children. So I don't care what society says. We're still winning when it comes down to fatherhood.
Right.
And if we have to be Joe sometime, we might just have to be Joe. That's all I'm saying.
Might have to be Joe. You know, I don't want to be, Joe. But sometimes you just you gotta Joe it out. You
And
gotta.
Glenn said he had to be Joe for a minute. Now we would have never thought that. So if Glenn could be Joe, we could be Joe.
Man, hey
And,
man,
and you
sometimes
know
you
the
just.
bad part about stepping up, being the father. The moment you show up, everybody want to say, "Oh, I thought you was a Christian. Oh, I thought you was this, this, and that." Okay, Jesus was a man of God. Jesus was God in the flesh, and he got upset and said, "Don't make my father's house a den of thieves and
Right,
robbers." So he was
right,
supporting his father. So why, when we show up, it's a problem? Why we always got to be angry, the angry black man? No, we're just being responsible, bro. I ain't mad at nothing my daddy did. He raised 14 kids. He came to California 17, a father too soon, a husband too soon, and spent his whole life being a parent and a husband, his
right,
entire life. So he came from pretty much one step from slavery, working for massa, coming to California. So he did what he did was best for him.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
If Glenn can hear us, Dwayne said he backstage.
Yeah, man. Listen, it ain't. It's so many different things that are going on in this world. That's around us. We're trying to, we're trying to be husbands. We're trying to be fathers. We're trying to be big brothers. Um, trying to be the little brother. Trying to be friends. Trying to walk this thing out with God.
Shakir.
Trying to walk this
Gotcha.
thing out
Here to get you
with
back to your
God.
room. I'm gonna scan your wristband real quick so they know I'm kidnapping you. That right there. All
Go
right.
ahead, Amon. I'm sorry. I put you on mute. I'm going to listen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to walk this thing out. As I was saying, we trying to be, we trying to be fathers. We're trying to be husbands. We're trying to be friends. We're trying to be that big brother. We're trying to walk this thing out with God. We're trying to have an identity of our own, trying to become who we need to become. We got all the forces and everything that's going on around us. Um, that we got forces that are opposing us. We got some things that are moving with us. We got the ebb and flow of life happening, man. And we're trying to figure all this out and stay somewhat mentally sane through all of this, through all of it. Um, and so it ain't the most difficult thing in the world, but it's a balancing act, man. It's a balancing act, trying to figure out this job may not be for me. So I'm out here doing what I'm doing, trying to do these deliveries and everything like that. And thank God that things have been moving. But it's rough trying to do your own business. The vehicle need brakes right now. Gotta get an oil change. Gotta do this. Gotta do that. Um, I got bills that are pressing. I mean, and everybody got them, but I'm just saying. Um, some people um couldn't handle it. Then I was like, man, I was like, no, do I really want to work with somebody else? But no, I'm putting in applications for Kaiser and all this other kind of stuff. I figure, okay, well, maybe I'll go back uh, working so I can have a steady this, and that, and then do the deliveries on this day, this day, and still trying to figure out how I can maneuver. Had a show this past weekend, got a show this Saturday, got a show on Sunday, and still trying to do all the stuff that I need and want to do. And then I'm at the house, sanding cabinets, remodeling the house. The wife is wanting this, demanding that. And then, it's a lot. It's a lot. Daughter needs to start, we need to start training again. She's home from college, but there's some training things that we got to do. There's a balancing act, man. And how do you do all of these things and still stay sane? So when I look at, if we're taking it back to Joe Jackson, because I'm circling back around as I'm thinking about it, all the stuff that I need and have to do, Joe had the world on his shoulders. Joe had the world,
That
and
part.
and he trying to figure out how do I maintain this? How do I get up? So who was paying the bills? Mama didn't work. Who kept the roof over their head? Who paid the water? Who paid the gas? Who paid the garbage? Who put the food on the table?
Who put gas in that van to take them all over the place and feed them?
Man, man, brother Joe, brother Joe. And then he had to make sure his boys wasn't out there running them streets, getting in trouble and all that kind of stuff like that. Come on, man.
And get them
And
up
then he
early
had to
enough to
take
go to school
criticism for people
after
who
they
didn't
did all that.
understand his job.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
Had
heard
to take.
Howard Hewitt on YouTube talking about people should have gave Joe Jackson a better break because if it wasn't for him, them boys could have ended up dead. They could have ended up in the penitentiary. They could have been strung out somewhere. And a
Absolutely.
lot of time people just don't appreciate the methodology of a man, him just trying to do the best that he can with what he has, and that he's doing the best he can for his family and for himself.
Right.
Eh, and then you hear people that make certain comments about you or about what somebody else does, but meanwhile, you don't even know the intentions of the heart of that person. I
Right.
was listening to you talk about all the stuff you're doing, and there, I remember the time when I was also still at that church. That the one thing that helped balance me, I had met this lady at a conference, and she was telling me about silent retreats. And so I had did some research and I had found a nice one. Oh man, it was in Vacaville. It was nice. It was on 25 acres on top of a hill. It was a couple had a mansion that they had turned in. It had about 8 rooms where you could rent a room. It had a gourmet kitchen. You could bring your own food. The only rule was you couldn't talk on the premises within it for the whole time you were there. You had to show up in the meditation room, whether you formally meditated or just went in there and pray. And the first time I went, because I was stressed out between home, between church, between doing work on the side, and I was stressed out. And I went in there, Amar, locked in for 3 to 5 days, brought my own stuff. After the second day, I can hear bees fly by me. I can hear their wings. A hummingbird was in the lavender bush next to me. I could hear that. It just blew me away. Um, a gray squirrel ran up under the table I was sitting at while I was sipping my coffee that morning. And by the time it came from my silent retreat to be over, I was so locked in and so at peace that I didn't want to leave to check back into the madness that I had to deal with. And the lady told me that I could stay up, I had to check out my room, but I had to get off, I could stay on the property as long as I wanted to. And by the time I drove from Vacaville back to Antioch, um, I felt the weight of everything hit me again, but it was much different this time because I didn't have to worry about um, how I was going to manage it. I just managed it based on the fact that I had took some time for some self-care for myself. So, sometimes we need to take a step back from everything. Because as my uncle used to tell me, pressure busts a pipe. And I never understood that until he started telling me you need to take a step back sometimes. Because if you don't, um, you can explode.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, man. Listen. Listen, man. It is a lot. It's a lot for people to just get up in the morning. A very good friend of ours, man, and I love her, man, because she always reaches out to me if she hears about something, and she grew up with my wife. She's my wife's friend, but she always calling me, always texting me. Well, I don't say calling me. She always texting me. Happy Father's Day. Um, I heard you singing the national anthem. Congrats, brother. Da, 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 da. I mean, whatever it is. But her husband, DJ, they had 2 boys. The weight of the world was on him so tough. He got up like he was going to work. Everybody left the house, dropped the kids off at school. She went to work. He came back home, went in the backyard, sat in a chair, and took his life. And when she came home, it looked like he was just sitting in the backyard in the chair and everything. And when she went to say something to him, of course, she knew what had happened. So, um,
So think about this, Amar. What about all the time she was hollering at him, trying to get his attention? You
right,
hear me talking to you.
Wow.
Why you ain't
that
saying
that
nothing?
yeah, that's
You just gonna
um,
sit outside and
wow.
ignore me?
Um,
right,
I don't even know
right,
what to say to that. That's just and
right,
it's heartbreaking to hear that the man has so much pressure and just didn't know no other way, and he thought that was the only way to relieve it. That's just
And he,
heartbreaking, man.
right, that was the only way. And
Yeah.
DJ was cool, man. DJ was cool, and but he had a couple of deals. He had a couple of deals that went bad. That went bad. He owed some people money. He owed some people some money from the real estate stuff and everything, and then just work and the pressure. And he felt the only way out was to take his life. And so, listen, man, when the pressures of life is on men, because we are expected to be once again fathers, husband, protector, uh, provider, um,
Friends.
all, yeah, all these different labels, man. We got a ton of labels that we have to wear, man. We have to wear it, and we got to figure out how to wear them and still keep our sanity up in the middle, in the midst of it all. And then let's not even talk about um I don't know. I mean, see, I don't.
Oh, let's talk about the disrespect.
I tell you
Let's talk
this, I
about the
was in the
disrespect
same
that starts at home.
weighted position
Right,
of dealing with different hats. And when I resigned from that church after 10 years, and just took a month where I can just literally breathe, I started to realize that I really didn't know who I was because I was wearing so many hats. I mean, literally. Um, and I would get asked questions about, certain things or, relationships challenges. And one day I was like, right now that don't even concern me. And it was like, why? Because I don't even know who I am. I need to
right,
figure out who Dwayne is. I don't know what I like no more. I don't know what I want to do anymore. And that was troubling to me because, everybody else that I was talking to was still putting on hats for different situations. And that was okay. But for me right then, it was like, this is not going to work. Because if I don't take some time to figure out me, I'm a break. And so, through the little retirement program I had, this organization, when I was with the church, I still had it. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, hey, man, you could talk to a therapist and they'll pay for it. And I'm like, are you serious? He said, yeah. Here's the number, give him a call. I did it immediately without hesitation. Called them people, went through, registered, um, went through 4 sessions back to back, once every 2 weeks. And it helped me to just take a step back and look at things. Um, and what's been helping even further is the fact that P. Shack turned me on to that Microsoft Copilot. Reluctant as I was in the beginning, I started asking it personal questions, and it started giving me formats and blueprint, and had me looking at myself a lot differently, my skill set, my life, experiences, and the hats that I was wearing. And so that helped me. And then, I began to talk about it with other brothers that, I know. When they share with me something that was troubling them, begin to tell them, man, sometimes you got to take a step back. It's okay. That's our role. But if we don't take a step back, if we don't care for ourselves, we burn ourselves out to the point where we feel we don't have nothing left. I remember when I was struggling to get on, I was listening to YouTube and you were talking about faith, saying you don't have to have a faith the size of cantaloupe. You need to have faith the size of mustard seed. We all have it. And a lot of times we try to use our faith into things that we want to do, but we need to use faith into allowing us to learn who we are through our relationship with God just as much as anything else. So, if there's somebody out there listening today, take a step back. Sometimes you got to just let stuff go, as hard as it is, so that you can approach it from a different perspective. Um, I remember a time, man, where I heard of a series of pastors that was just literally committing suicide. It seemed like it was an epidemic, and that's disheartening to me. And I heard one story about this brother who was doing two services, and he did the first service. His family was at home, and the church was near the house. He came home, told his family, "Hey, I'll see you guys at the second service," as they were leaving, and he pulled his car in the garage after they left, and then committed suicide. That's crazy. That's heartbreaking. So whatever it is, whatever you're going through, take a step back, relieve the pressure, because you got greatness inside of you, and God more for you than we are doing day to day. Sometimes just a word from somebody else can change your whole perspective. Sometimes a hug, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes a text message, just like you was talking about, Amar. Sometimes those things alleviate so much pressure. It may seem like a little thing, but God does things in subtle ways. So that's basically my Sunday school speech.
Yeah, no, man, it's good, and man, it gives us perspective on uh, on things, man, because trying to find that balance, trying to find how we can navigate the waters, man. You know, you're on a journey right now, trying to figure out where you want to be. Where you want to reside in the latter years of your life. What's going to be comfortable, not only for you, but comfortable for your family. And how are they going to um, accept change in everything? Because what you may be thinking is a great move and a great move for you, it might not be a great move for everybody else in the family. You might be like, well, I'm the head of my household, this and that. But we have to realize that, okay, for kids that are young, they got to go where their parents go. And you're removing, and it is what it is, and you're removing them from their comfort zone, the friends that they um, build relationships with, and school and activities and all that kind of stuff. For your wife, there might be a girlfriend that she hangs out with all the time. There's, a job that she's been on for a while. And so she has to think about her next career move. Can she take that career to another state? Can she, what about the mother or father, or if parents are still alive? What about the brother or sister that they're leaving, that they're close to, or that best friend? So what might be right for us may not be right for the other parties that are involved. But because we are the because we are the head of the house, they got to follow our lead. But that doesn't still make it the move right for everybody. Now everyone has to learn to get acclimated and into this new way of living, and it may be difficult for them to do so. And now that's another battle for you, because you got to try to make it the best. You got to try to make it comfortable. You got to assure them that things are going to be better. You got to do this and you got to do that. So we on this thing, this journey called life, trying to figure out how do we make it better for our families and for the people around us, because we're leading them. And so for people that get mad at Joe Jackson, he had to figure out, how am I going to lead my family? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get us in a better position? How am I going to help grow and cultivate my kids' talents? How am I going to show the world this, and that? It is a it is a it
It's
is
a
a
walk of
hell of a,
faith. It was a walk of
yeah,
faith, bro.
it's
You,
a walk of
you,
faith.
you're right,
It's a
bro. You're right. It's a
And he
walk of
had to deal
faith,
with his
and
wife
it's
talking
like you say,
crazy
it's a
to him.
delicate
Think
balance.
about it. He had to
And
deal with his wife. He had
as
to deal with
much,
his
even
kids. He had to deal with
the
family.
situation I'm
Hold
in,
on,
as
hold
much.
on. I don't I
Okay.
don't know who can. Some P Shack is talking. He must can't hear you
Oh, okay.
talking.
I'm sorry.
I can hear
And
Dwayne.
so, oh, okay.
Dwayne probably
Well,
can't hear
Dwayne,
me.
Oh, Dwayne can't hear you. You couldn't hear.
Oh
You
yeah, I
can't hear
can't.
me,
No, I
Shaq.
can't hear Shaq. No, I'm sorry.
So you might have to. Unfortunately, you might have to go out and come right back in,
Okay, I'm gonna do
and
that. I'm gonna do that.
and
No, but what I was saying
so that
though,
way to reset.
Okay, I'm
because
gonna do that.
I did the same thing, not what Joe Jackson did, but I had to make a decision what is working best for us now. And yeah, friends would be mad, family would be mad, people would be mad. But dude, when you do this faith walk with and trying to take off these hats and physically, mentally, emotionally carrying everybody else load, and you finally decide to look out for self, people gonna be mad. You know what I'm saying?
They go.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like I didn't even tell Net I was doing bariatric surgery to the last day because I knew she was gonna talk to her friends and everybody gonna tell them about their cousin, their auntie who tried it and did this and that. And I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear from nobody for any decisions I made concerning my life. Because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, we're gonna make decisions that's gonna make people uncomfortable.
So you
I'm
told Ned at the so you told Ned at the last minute. Well, you had to
I
tell her at the
told
last
Net
minute.
the day before I needed a ride to the hospital.
Right, right,
And I've been going through
cause
the whole situation for 6 months. And
right,
you mean to
and
tell me
you
you
didn't.
had no idea I was going through this? I was doing something for 6 months, going to the doctors, going to therapists, going to something. So,
Well, she probably just figured you was just trying to, take care of
so
yourself and
again,
all of that.
I'm saying I'm not saying that they don't care or they're not concerned about us, but I would have been like, why are you going to the doctor so much? Why you got all these appointments? But none of those questions was asked until the day I said I need a ride to the hospital and I can't get in without somebody coming. Then it was 50,000 questions and she still was talking to people. And at this point, I didn't care. My surgery was in the morning. I'll talk to you tomorrow and it is what it is. And
Right.
then everybody had something to say. Oh, he's not eating. He don't want to eat this no more. Oh, you got to get protein from animals. Well, how animals get protein? You feel me? They eat vegetables. They eat grass. They eat stuff. So
Right, right.
quit telling me what works for you, and let me walk by faith and see what works for me. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure millions of people told Joe he made a bad decision. You gonna quit this good job and go all the way to California? You might not want to give up this good job. We've been working at this job forever, and we own our house in Indiana. Come on, man. Joe was like, bro, my vision is bigger than Indiana. My vision is bigger than 2300 Jackson Street. I'm gonna do something different. And sometimes it's hard for your spouse to walk with you because they listening to everybody else instead of trusting the fact that God got you and he ain't gonna abandon you. And you've been carrying this family, even though they think they've been carrying it. But at the end of the day, I know y'all working together, but you the one really carrying that family. So I'm just saying, bro. So I understand Dwayne. And some people gonna be mad at him. They was mad at him when he quit the church. Oh, he said, I gotta tell Glenn he backstage. But that's what I'm talking about, Amar, if you can hear me. Yeah, no problem.
Yep,
Can
I
you hear
can hear
me?
you for sure.
Go ahead. No, I was talking. I'm on the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. But I'm sure people gonna be mad at Joe forever. But no Joe, no Michael. That's all I gotta say. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. All I'm saying is no Joe, no Michael. No Joe, no Jacksons. So uh, even though people thought Joe was a tyrant, Joe had to do what he had to do. He didn't mismanage their money. He didn't he didn't sexually abuse his kids, probably psychologically and emotionally, but They was just abused. They didn't even know they was abused until people started telling them.
Well, there's a
They
lot
were,
of stories out there too about Mike. Mike didn't play. Mike had Joe Jackson in him because they say
that
he
part.
he he got up in Tupac face. I guess because Tupac was dating Quincy Jones' daughter, and he was like, "Hey, that's my niece," and he stepped to him, and that's what the
Right.
bodyguard said. So Mike wasn't no pushover. Behind the scenes, they say
Right.
Mike was.
He had Joe Jackson characters, bro. He got on MTV. No, I'm not doing what everybody else is doing. Come on, bro. He was the first black man on MTV.
Hey, they said Michael Jackson was the most shrewd businessman in the game. They said he was not playing at all.
Yeah, he was not to be played with. Amar.
Hey, think about what he did to Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney told him something. He went and bought the catalog,
I
the
mean,
whole catalog, which included Little Richard, which included all the black artists, and he gave them back all their rights, all their copyrights that they don't even talk about. That Michael Jackson gave them all their stuff back. So yeah, he was a shrewd businessman, and that's why
Well,
they was mad.
yeah, and then
they
the boy did that video, I'm bad, and organized the Crips to
Right.
come and dance, and then that Negro had nerve enough to pose with him and do the Crip sign.
Hey, and then he went to a whole nother country with I forgot the name of that country with the big old Jesus sign standing up, the big old Jesus
Oh,
dude,
Brazil,
Brazil.
Brazil,
Brazil, and
yeah,
had all the thugs to protect him because the government was scared of America, had all the thugs protect him, and he said they don't even care about us. So of course they was mad at him. And he made other people stand up for themselves and they got mad. And that's what happened. They found a scapegoat because you're gonna always find a house one who gonna do whatever somebody else say for they can stay in the house. And they don't know they're gonna be they're gonna be the ones who gonna be left hanging. Because we always got a house one. We sick, massa. Michael doing this, massa. Come on, bro. So man,
yeah. You are never gonna please everybody.
at all.
You better learn how to please yourself and God. Um, and you know when you're on the right track with God because when all opposition comes against you and you doing what He wants you to do, and you know you have a strong sense that you're fulfilling your purpose, that's when you let Him deal with other people. I remember starting this quest. It was something somebody said to me that I actually wrote down, and it was like, my son, breathe. You will not miss me. Do the unexpected, the unexplainable. Lead the way. You heard me right. Many close to you will resist you. I'm using their opposition. Don't play it safe. You're going to make moves people don't like. I
Hey,
wrote that down.
I ain't mad. Even when
And I,
me and Anthony talked about selling his house. I'm like, why would you sell your house and God bless you with that house? And he came home and then he had freedom.
I remember that. I remember that. And now the kitchen is almost complete. But and I was telling the contractor yesterday because he knows about how long my kitchen's been like that. And I told him because he's Mexican and speaks Spanish and he speaks a little bit of English. Well, he speaks enough English. He understands. So I told him in Spanish. I said tres años, because I'm looking at it. He just put the sink in. He put the faucet. I mean, it's coming together. And I told him 3 years, man, 3 years, no complaining. Have you guys ever heard me complain about it, Shaq?
Nah, not one time.
Nope, nope. I was making smoothies, washing the blender out in the bathroom sink. Never complained one time. But I'm telling y'all, 3 years without a kitchen sink, without a stove. 3 years using microwave, using air fryers. The boys are used to uh struggles like this because they've seen what God has done. We've taken cold showers. When Jake had got us that apartment, we took cold showers for like 3 months because the PG&E bill was so high. At one time, I thought I was just supposed to pay electric. I was kind of freshly new to the area. I didn't know there was two bills, so the PG&E was skyrocket high. Didn't even know. And man, so to watch that kitchen coming together, y'all, yesterday, I was like, wow. and just saying, God, man. And I remember when I was talking to Shaq, I should just sell the house and yada yada. He said, no, you ain't gonna sell that house. So yeah, it's definitely a true blessing, man, to watch the way God orchestrates what He does best. And we don't know what the next day is gonna bring. Like Amar was saying, how he's looking for a job, and he's applying for Kaiser and this and that. And he's grateful that these routes are making some money, but at the same time, there's things coming in, and um, we tend to panic a little bit and kind of think, no, no, we need to hold back, and because God definitely didn't bring you. What do you say, Shaq? Say it. Didn't bring
Yeah,
you this far.
yeah, man. I mean, look, which nobody probably known. I've been dealing with a water problem for 3 years, and today they're at the house fixing the water problem. They had to dig a hole in my driveway. You know, I've been dealing with cut the water off, cut it back on, cut it on for 1 hour in the day, cut it off till nighttime for an hour. You know, you gotta take the cold showers unless you just got some hot water in a bucket and poured it on you. But today is done. So this situation here ain't doing showing me nothing but everything is moving forward. And I ain't finna complain. I ain't finna have no pity party. I'm gonna just keep praising God, and I'm gonna call the people today, or once they fix the and let the water company know it's fixed, even though I'm suing them. Yeah. Okay. Even though I'm suing them, and I'm gonna let they gotta call my warranty company, because now I can get my hot water heater fixed, because I couldn't get it fixed because the water was messed up. So now I'm finna do the hot water heater, and we be back to normal. Thank you. And we're back to normal. But
Right.
we had to go almost 3 months. 3 months, bro. I was talking to Dwayne. He hecka funny. He said, "I like cold water."
I got used to it. I got home and jumped in the shower after I, got from the airport, and the water was hot, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work." And tried to turn it down a little bit. It was still too warm. I turned it to cold, and I found out that I was much more relaxed taking a cold shower. I'm like, "Hey, this is cool." I had my daughter laughing at me. She was like, "Dad, you crazy?" Yeah, I said to some degree. I said, but you know what that taught me is that your mind has the ability to adapt and to adjust to situations and circumstances to make sure that you are right and that you can move forward. So
Right.
a
Absolutely.
lot of things that we expect, sometimes life throws us curveballs so it to help us to grow and to develop into a more well-rounded person, a more well-rounded man. And that's what
Hey,
another thing I've been learning about balancing or juggling these hats. Hey, everybody's not going to agree with me, and that's okay. I don't have to smooth that over, as long as I'm not being vindictive and overbearing, uh, and I'm explaining this is what it is. This is how I'm being led, and this is the move I'm gonna make. I know it's gonna be consequences, on your end, but hey, as I'm making adjustments, you can make adjustments. And hey, guess what? If you have problems with the adjustments, you can have other alternatives as well. It's nothing personal. It's life. It's like going into a job. Hey, we're going a different way. What do you mean? Your position is no longer available. Well, I've been here for 20 years. Oh, well, we appreciate that. So we're gonna give you severance, but we're going a different way. We don't need your position. What are you gonna do? Go postal? I mean, life is about adjusting.
Some people do.
Yes,
Some
some
people do.
people
But
do.
you made a point when you said, man, is your mind can adapt
Amar, I
to
was gonna say
whatever
the same
situation it
thing.
needs
I
to.
was gonna say the same thing, Amar. That's it. Right. Go ahead, Amar. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Your mind can adapt to anything. And so, a really good friend of mine was going through it and didn't have the money to buy milk to eat cereal. So he started eating cereal with water. So much so, once he started making money and living and surviving and doing everything he needed to do and growing and becoming who he became, he still eats cereal with water.
Wow.
He don't. He don't. He don't. He don't. He don't buy milk. He don't buy milk to. If he has milk in the house, yeah, but he don't trip. He's so used to it. He just put water on his cereal and eat it because that's what he did for the longest, and that's how he eats his cereal. When he eats cereal, he don't need no milk. So your mind will adapt, and you will change according to your circumstances, situation. You will do what you need to do. Um, and that's the beauty about it all. But again, it has to take some measure of faith. It has to take some measure. You have to have faith. You have to be a strong person. Um, it takes a lot, man. It takes a lot for people to
Hey,
deal with what they have to deal with um, on a daily basis, man.
hey, think about this though. We adapted. Our kids learn how to adapt, and even people who come to visit learn how to adapt with no complaints.
Right.
Bro, I adapted so well that while he was gone, I pretty much was the head of the household. So everything
I
that
wasn't
needed to
even
be
there.
done, and I everything that needed to be done, I just got up and did it. With no problem. It was just like, and it was like, just swooped right into the flow of it. Even when they got back, when I picked Ned up and Celia, they got Shaq back, and Shaq was like, "Oh, ask Dwayne to do it." But no problem. I did what I needed to do. Life is about adapting to the good and the bad. We have that ability, and it's a mindset. Uh, and the more we learn it, especially during rough times, it's like I've learned so much within the year that I have not been at that church, and I've had my challenges. I have my challenges financially. I have my challenges, um, in just adjusting. But hey, I'm like Anthony with his kitchen. I have so much more peace when I see certain things coming together little by little. It don't even bother me. It's like this is the way it's supposed to be. Of course, I would like it to be better. Who wouldn't? But I know it's gonna get there. And
Right,
until it does, I'm just gonna enjoy the process. And that's what I've been telling myself. Um, the challenges and the valleys and the mountains. I'm gonna enjoy them both because it's a message in both of them, and it helped me keep me stable in the process. If I stress myself out about stuff, it's not gonna do me any good. Just like I'm learning not to take what people say personal. That's your opinion.
that
If
part.
I take everybody's opinion about me personally, I ain't very much of a person. You know what I'm saying? If I gotta listen to the complaints all the time and then try to convince somebody that's not me, then you don't know me. And so the mind is an amazing instrument that God has given us, man. Especially when we tune into Him and He show us how to use it. Um, what is that scripture? Jesus says, "In this world you'll have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world."
Right.
And lately, I've been asking Him, show me how to overcome the challenges that I have to face, and teach me how to learn it. Learn what I need to learn through those challenges. I'm not asking you to take the fire away. I'm asking you to make me fireproof. If I got to go in the fire, hey, come in there with me and show me how to deal with this. I'm not going to escape nothing. If I was crazy enough to choose a lifestyle that I shouldn't have been in, coming up, then I'm crazy enough to follow you and just stay in the fire and learn how to bear it. You know,
And bro, and I think that's the genius part of us as we mature as men, that what people think of us is really none of our business. We God gave us gifts and talents, and we're supposed to use them for His glory, and then our time is up. It's like everybody inbox me, you good? You good? I'm great. Probably tired anyway. You know what I'm saying? Needed to get some rest anyway.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I ain't mad at nobody. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited what God is doing. I'm excited what he's doing with Anthony. I'm excited what he's doing with all of us, how he's showing up, and again, how he's showing off. So that's the blessing, bro. That's the blessing.
It is, man. It's absolutely amazing. And the more you look at it like that, the more encouragement it gives you, and the more encouragement it gives to others as well. It's just it's amazing, bro. Life is amazing. I'm enjoying myself. And matter of fact, since the last time I was there, um, and me and you stopped by that spot, and I seen how God divinely ordains things. Um, that's changed my whole mindset, set in perspective as well. Because
Yeah,
God
I
orchestrates stuff.
think I just yeah, I think life just we gotta just understand who God is. That's all I gotta understand. You just gotta understand who he is.
Yeah, and follow his lead. When I look at that whole story about Abram, reason why his name was changed is because he was obedient. He followed God's lead, didn't know what he was supposed to do other than just keep moving away from his country. And when he got to a certain place, God spoke to him. When he got to another place, God showed him something. And life is like that.
And the part he said, don't bring nobody with you.
Right.
And that's the part we gotta go. If you're gonna be great, there's some things you're gonna have to go and pave the way.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I don't know if Glenn is on, but Glenn, we still got a couple people behind stage before we close out. So if you can let them in before we close out, I think it's Will, and I think it's Amon. Um, thanking God for it. Dwayne being on. Anthony, you still on? I think that go Amon right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on. I'm still on.
I'm
Mic
s-
check.
Yeah,
1 2.
I got
AMR.
I
Mic
got
check.
kicked off. I got
Yeah.
kicked
The
off
most
because
powerful
somebody
statement
tried to
that
call
I've
and it just
heard
um
about me
came
as a
back on. I
person
couldn't hear
comes
y'all
from
talking
AI.
and all that kind of stuff like that. I don't know
Um,
What did
why
it say?
somebody
when I
want to
put in
call
my
me and
life
interrupt
experience and answer the
my
question,
I don't
um,
think he could hear Amar
and
talking.
it said that,
Oh,
Rev,
y'all can't hear me?
your
No, I can
life
hear
is a
you, but
curriculum
Dwayne's still talking.
and
I
you
don't
are
think
the
he can hear you
professor to
talking.
teach it.
right.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Hey, Dwayne, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't think you didn't hear Amar. Can you hear Amar? Amar, say something.
It's
No, I can't hear
me.
Amar. Let me go out and
You
come
know what
back
song you
in.
need to sing?
Sorry about
Sing
that,
your Deacon
Amar.
Oh.
Lowe song.
Yeah, this is
It's
hilarious.
another day's journey, and I'm still
You don't need to put
here.
that all that in there. You stop it.
Yada, yada, yada.
Stop it, y'all. He said,
Have you tried Jesus? He's alright.
it sound
Have
like
you?
Eartha Kitt. Sound like Eartha Kitt.
Well, that's how. Well, that's what he be doing when he's singing
I know. Remember on Boomerang?
Yes.
it. Michael.
Marcus. Hey, what did he say? Can it get darker in here? Boy, them movies. Hey, they don't. Funny. We ain't. When's the last time
That's how
we
it go,
we seen a
man.
funny movie like that? Like just funny movies anymore.
Yeah, man. And you know what? Talking about movies, man. My wife always want to watch something that with. I'd be like, dude, can we watch some comedy? Can we watch some people? Can we laugh? She always want to
Oh, some
watch a
term and
movie.
endearment dramas and
No, no, no. She always want to watch somebody getting ate up by sharks. Stranded in somebody stranded in the wilderness. Uh, getting ate up by wolves and bears and uh, people stranded on an island. I'd be like, what is your fascination with people being stranded? We're watching a whole movie with somebody getting in the water. Come on, dude. Why? But that's what she likes to watch. I'd be like, man, can we just watch something funny? You know?
Man, I like, man, yeah. I always go back to them older ones because them be the funniest ones. Put some Martin Lawrence on or some Jamie Foxx and the Jamie Foxx show. Um, the other day there was a little thing on the line and it said, okay, those of you who grew up with the Cosby Show will know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's called the Cosby Show, but where was the Cosbys? They were the Huxtables. Where were the Cosbys? Because there was only one, like nobody really said nothing about it. Like the Huxtables, but it's called the Cosby Show. We know because Bill Cosby, of course, but where are the Cosbys?
That's a good
Right.
point. I
I
never
ain't never
noticed that.
I ain't never tripped off that. They were the
I know, I didn't either,
Huxtables.
so I read it. Yeah, they're the Huxtables. They're Claire and Cliff Huxtable. Where are the Cosbys?
Ain't that you know what? I ain't never tripped off that.
Scratch your head on that one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know
Wow.
what? But I think the point they were making was most of the time things are right in front of our face and we never question it. You know, it's like they occupy you with. It's kind of like a card trick. When somebody, you're looking at one card and here pull a card out the deck. Now your focus is on that one card, but at the same time they're doing something else with their hands on the back. With the cards, and you're not even focused, and they'll do this, and it's like, it's like that's life. Life is always gonna throw. It's gonna right in front of your face, but they'll throw that distraction out there, and that's what the enemy is. He's decisive and distractive, and uh it's never hidden from us. It's right there in plain sight. But there's distractions that distract you from seeing it sometimes. Most of the time, you know, you you'll catch it here and there, and just a lot of these youngsters right now, as we were talking earlier about how Joe Jackson was doing that, but a lot of these youngsters don't realize that what would we call them YNs? They don't realize that, um, man, these grown men you see walking around, they're not here by happenstance. You know, we've been through some things. You know, we've been through some things. We've been through some hard times and some struggles. I know for myself, when I lost my mom when I was 18, I had to sleep in my car. And, I was working, washing up at work, and just making it happen. And like Dwayne was saying, our minds adapt and we do what we got to do at that time. But some minds just don't know how to adapt. Are we
Yeah,
still on?
that. Yeah, we still on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that. That's a very good
some
point,
minds
Anthony.
just don't know how to adapt.
Yeah.
But instead of adapting, they go to complaining, they go to blaming, finger pointing, and
Hmm.
if was a fifth, we'll all be drunk type of mentality. And then they go down that rabbit hole. They take that blue pill, and it's like, man, that's not the one you should have took, or the red, whatever it may be. But it's
Hmm.
all good. But
Yeah,
yeah. So like you said, minds adapt, man. Some
you're right.
don't adapt to uh the right life, path.
You're right. And you know that. Well, what we really need to understand is that the
Right.
battlefield for
Absolutely.
is the
So we have
mind.
to be
That is the
careful
battlefield.
about
Yeah.
what we filter in and
Yeah.
what we filter out, and how we maneuver. But everything's got to be calculated, man. Sometimes, man, you gotta count the cost. You gotta count the cost before you make a move and do things. Um, yeah, man. But it is a journey. It's a journey, though. Yeah, man.
Man,
That was good.
this life
That
is a
was good.
cold game, bro.
Yeah. So, man, we are here. P. Shack is in the hospital.
But that's the thing though. It is a cool thing, but isn't that a blessing? That look on
Yes.
this line right here. We got four men that been through some things, and has not succumbed to anything. We done been through so much. I'm going through it right now. Something I've never been through in my life.
Right.
And I
Right.
don't hope anybody goes through it. But I'm still on this line, brothers. I'm not blaming nobody. and I'm continuously thanking my Lord and Savior, um, because His word reminds me, and it reminds all of us that
Mm-hmm.
through it all, right, through it all. My cousin sent me something this morning, and it was Psalms 34:18. The Lord is
Mm,
close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed.
mm,
And it was about David, the writer of Psalms 34, preached what he lived. He experienced some intense heights, some fierce blows, recognizing God's
Mm-hmm.
presence in the midst of his circumstances. And that's the beauty of knowing whose you are.
mm,
Um, Not pointing fingers, not blaming anybody, not blaming myself, not any regrets. You know, would coming up? I don't know. Coming up. I've raised my kids. I always tell them how proud I am of them, and I always told Anthony what a wonderful man, what a very man, just a great dad he had become. He grew into that. Never
Mm-hmm.
ran from his responsibilities. Always was there with them, and bend over backwards with him. Even my ex-wife, because my Anthony was down here in Elk Grove living with my ex-wife at one time, this past last year, and she said I would watch his face sometime when he wasn't able to get what the kids needed, or to pay for some football pads, and she said she stepped in and just said, here, send this to the kids, or go get the kids whatever they needed to get, and you could just see his face. It's totally different. He never he never put himself before the kids. It was like,
mm,
I need to make sure they're okay, then I'll be okay. You know, um, and I'm saying this because he never let what he was going through take him away. Like, okay, um, I got to do this for me, and then I'll do this for. It never was him first, and he didn't just that just didn't all of a sudden just come up. He was raised like that. I'm hoping that was what he got from me. Um, and it was just it was amazing to see him grow into that, and his brothers watched
Wow.
that, and he treated his brothers like that. um and he's gonna be dearly missed, so we're just gonna just always remember that. People are always
yeah.
gonna say anything, and that's the thing. People are gonna say what they want to say, but I got my boy I grew up with. He's like, Aunt, because he's on social media, not no like social media junkie, but he's on there. He's like, and I didn't realize, man, your son, man, he had love out here, man. These people loved him. Folks loved him. Nobody is saying one bad thing, nothing negative. Everybody is saying everything,
Mm-hmm.
how he's always there for somebody, and always making sure that somebody's taken care of and checking in on people. So, it's a
Right.
blessing to know that kind of love is out there, but it doesn't take away from the anger and the hurt and the pain, but it's just comforting to know that, anger, because, man, you teach your kids these things, but sometimes they don't run with them, man. We can always pray for them, and we know he was on therapy Thursday. Sometimes he'll be on when I'm in the mountains, and he'll still be on, or he'll call in. Shaq say, man, your son was on today. Like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a blessing, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
most
yeah, man,
definitely.
No,
God is good, brother.
absolutely. Yeah, you it's a oh man, it's a new normal for you. Um, one that you got to process daily, one that you have to continue to ask God for strength for. Um, you're gonna have moments uh where you're questioning like man, how come he didn't just call me? I got this, and that. Then there's gonna be moments where you're gonna be at peace, moments where you're gonna need to shed a tear. There's gonna be moments when you're gonna have laughter thinking about some things. Um, that's why God gave us that's why God gave us these emotions so we could absolutely use them. Just like, I think you were talking before when we were talking about anger. It's okay to it's okay to get angry. It's okay to be mad about stuff, but it's how do you harness that anger? how do you navigate those waters? Uh, and so it is absolutely okay for you to feel strong. It's okay for you to feel weak. It's okay for you to grieve. It is okay for you to be content. What does that scripture say? In everything to be, uh, I've learned to be content. I've learned to be this, all these different things. And P-Shack, I mean, let me see if I can look up that scripture. But all of these things. So, man, I say that to you to just know that folks are consistently praying for you, and as you and your family go through this difficult journey and season of your lives, and man, and we all have had something difficult to deal with, uh, but God is
Yeah, no, for
faithful.
sure. No, really though, Amar, appreciate that. It's y'all. When you see like Amar could pull up in a root beer brown Porsche. We never seen a root beer brown Porsche. It's rare. But then all of a sudden you start seeing root beer brown Porsches, and like, oh, you start noticing them. And then so the other day, well, yesterday, I passed by the park, and there was a young man in the park. He was throwing the ball with his son, right? And I'm looking. His son was probably like, because I went walking yesterday by my house, and we got a nice trail right there. So I noticed that, and I didn't get sad. Actually I was smiling, like, man, good job, you know what I'm saying? And then just little subtle things will happen, and it reminds me, and I'm like, wow, you know, and it's just crazy. It's and some things, and I smile about it all, because it's like I said earlier, y'all. There's no regret. Not one regret. I should have did this different. I should have did this. God has a plan and a purpose for each and every one of us.
Right.
Nobody, no man knows the time of the day. That's what the word tells us. So, and He gives us free choice and will. So we just have to take comfort and solace in knowing that, man, that marvelous light. He's in that marvelous light. So I'm grateful, man, that he got to know the Lord. He got to know you guys, and everybody pray for him. So everybody got to uh, uh, introduce him to the Lord in their walks. You know what I'm saying? What they've been
Right.
through, and this is what we've been through. So that was a good thing. He was close to Shaq. He called Shaq sometime, but yeah, we was
He can
all,
stay.
man, just good, bro.
We could. And
Hey,
and
we ain't trying
and
to see
you
your
gotta
enemas, man.
and
We ain't
you
trying to see
have
your
a
enemas, bro.
and and think about it. That dude was a good look. That dude was a good dude, man. He used to call me, and all he used to say is, "I just want to be like my daddy. I just want to be like my daddy." Because I asked him, "Why in the world you in Vegas? Take care of my kids like my daddy." So, bro, that's a testament to who you are. Your son wanted to be like his father. That's a
Yeah, I
blessing,
remember when I
bro.
met my ex-wife, Shari. She's born and raised out of L.A. So I met her through my best friend. That's his wife's first cousin. And when we first met, I was going back and forth to L.A. She was coming back and forth. I was living in Lodi at the time, and I had to get out of Stockton because it was too small for doing what I was doing. And so we was just visiting back and forth. And then when it came time, I proposed, and he was like, "Hey, I told her, I said, I can't leave. I can't go to L.A. I got kids here. I can't go. But so we looked for a house. We bought a house in El Grove, and I never regretted that. But I never regretted not leaving, just because at least I know I did what I needed to do. But it sure was funny. As soon as I got married, man, um, my daughter's mom, one of my daughter's mom, and the other daughter's mom. Oh my goodness, when they found out I got married and bought a house, oh, they kind of went crazy. Um,
They, they went ham, huh?
yeah,
You
like,
didn't marry us.
no, but they kind of like trying to pull my daughters away, and I'm like, hold on, y'all don't. But I didn't go into no long discussions because it was nobody's business. Y'all don't even know the choice I made. I chose my kids, and I always will. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that was a big part of my marriage too. I always chose my kids over my wife. and that was wrong on my half. I didn't know better, right? Um, and I'm not saying like I chose the kids like no to you. I didn't do that. Um, but it was noticeable that hey, at the drop of a dime, I was there for them all. So it's all good. It's all
That's a
good.
bless. That's definitely a blessing, bro. It's a blessing to know that you don't have no regrets. And every father can't say that.
You had a great relationship with your kids,
Right.
all of them, and
I think that's
that.
all of us who on this line. All of us got great relationship with our kids.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, bro. We live and we learn, man. We live and we learn. We live and we learn, man. We don't have it down perfect. It ain't. We don't have the science to it. We just do what we do, man. We just do what we do, and pray that it's accepted, that
Right.
it's accepted, and that they appreciate it. And sometimes they want to appreciate it until later on in life. You know, you may not even see it as as soon as you may want to see it. You know, because they'll understand that. Okay, wow, is this what my parents had to go through? And so my mother and father got divorced when I was still a toddler, and so um, my mother and I, man, we had the greatest relationship. My father, not so much, not until later on in my life. But once I started understanding the dynamic between a male and a female relationship, then I had to give Pops grace. I had to give him grace and cut him some slack because um is this what relationships are about? And then I had to ask my mother, like, what happened with you and Pops and yada yada. And my mother said straight up, she said, "Oh baby, your mama was a trip. Your mama was a trip." I said, "Really?" She said, "Oh yeah." She said, "It wasn't all on him. It wasn't all on him." I said, "Huh? Okay." So we have to understand that uh, we're learning what it is to become a man. We're learning what it is to become a father. We're learning what it is to become a friend, a husband. We're learning all of these things. You know, we're learning how to co-parent. We're learning how to walk this thing called life out. Um, I dare to say that there's no blueprint on how to do this, but somebody might say, yeah, it is because we got the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth, as P. Shad likes to always tell us. So, um, but you have to be introduced to that, you know. You don't just you just don't wake up knowing who Christ is. You just don't wake up knowing this is how you're supposed to walk this thing out. Because the people that you're born to, they may not believe, they may not trust, they might not have walked it out themselves. So you're trying to get it the best way that you can get it from examples from other people, family members, and friends on how to walk this thing out until finally have a relationship with Christ yourself, or somebody introduce you to him, or some epiphany happens, or whatever brings you to Christ. You're walking this thing out by yourself, and if you don't have examples, you know what I'm saying? Um, Thank God that I had a great example in my grandfather of watching him love on his sons and daughters, um, and be the great man that he was. So I got that. I got a little bit of that up until the sixth grade because he passed away when I was the summer of me going into the sixth grade. So I didn't have a whole lot, but what I saw, I loved. And we don't have a playbook for this thing. You know, we
Right.
don't have a playbook, so we're trying to figure it all out.
I like that, Amar. You're right. And I did the same thing. It's picked um, areas like my grandfather and my uncles, and you know, even older cats, because I
Can
always
y'all hear
ran
me?
with. Yeah,
We can hear you.
yeah.
We can hear you. And we can hear you. Dwayne is speaking. Finish up, Dwayne.
Okay,
No, I was
okay, cool.
saying I agree with Amar because
Okay, that's
I
cool.
was blessed
That's
as
cool. My
well
bad.
to be able to, pick things up from my grandfathers, from my uncles, and from a lot of, cats that were older than me. Because, I was the oldest in my family, but I all with my, me and my sister. But I ran with the older guys in the neighborhood, and I tended to gravitate towards those who were more like a, big brother figure. And I liked the way they moved, the way they dressed, and they taught me things. Um, and my grandfather was instrumental, because he taught me things. He taught me how to look out for myself. He taught me how to, greet people, things of that nature. And you're right, there's no playbook on this. Or, well, literally, it is. A playbook is what we find and we see that, you know, adapts to our spirit and works well with us. And we just take it and try to use it as we, move and grow. Because we're always adapting, once again. Every situation, we adapting, and we're growing from it. And that's the beautiful thing. I look at, I was telling Shaq, while I was out there, I realized, my mother was 17 when she had me. My dad was 19, but heck, they was 18 and 16 when my mother was pregnant.
Right.
And so, when I was born, they were babies having a baby. And I hear people complain about their parents all the time. It's like, I had the utmost love and respect for my parents because number one, they could have aborted me.
Right.
They could have gave me away. And they did the best that they could do, regardless of whether they stayed together or not. And I think they did a pretty damn good job because I came out all right, in spite of everything.
In spite of what they saying, huh?
But life is beautiful. That's all I
Right.
got to say. And it's getting better and better every day, no matter what it is.
Hey man, I'm excited. I know we got a couple more people. Do anybody? We only got a few more minutes. Anybody else in the background has something to say? Because we got a few more minutes. Anybody else got any comments? I don't know if Mac's still back there. I know Anthony might still be back there. Um, Glenn, you back there?
I'm here still.
I know Dwayne is still there. Who else is
I'm here,
here?
but I can't hear Shaq or Amor.
Oh, you can't hear none of us? Amar, can you hear me? Nobody hears me. Can y'all hear
I
me
can hear
now?
you. I can hear Dwayne. I can hear you. I just can't hear Amor.
You can't hear me? Amar, oh, he gonna come back on. Yeah. So you got a few closing statements, man, and then we gonna go to Dwayne, then Amar. And thank y'all for praying for me. They still trying to figure this out,
Oh
but
man.
Yeah.
thank y'all for praying for me.
Sir, yes, sir. Yeah, no, we man, we just have another nothing particular, but yeah, man, just praying for that strength each and every day, man. I know I got a like I said, I got a friend, I got a cousin I'm leaning on. She went through the same thing I'm going through. Well, not the same, but lost a son. My good buddy that does the vans, Amar knows him. T. He lost his son about 7 years ago out in Stockton to a senseless murder. Um, so just those you can lean on. My all the men. So man, I'm just grateful, y'all, man. I'm grateful that I'm in the walk and the relationship I'm in now versus not being there. I can imagine somebody who don't know the Lord and don't know what His Word says about grief, doesn't know what His Word that says about you know understanding these times. You're not alone. You know, all these things, man. So I pray for those individuals that are going through that, because even though, I lost my firstborn son, and um, such a loving man, and such that part. But man, there's people that lose children every day. There's people that lose children to cancer and to different things. Um, it's just heartbreaking, man. You lose children. People are losing parents at a young age. I did. This is my second blow in a death in my life so far. Well, I wouldn't say so far, because we know death is guaranteed. But losing my mom, now losing a child, pretty hard. You never know what you can make it through. You never know how strong you are until to the Lord. Um, you know, he knows that you're gonna make it, because he says, "I got you." I wouldn't put it on you if I knew you couldn't make it. You know. So man, yeah, I'm just thankful, y'all brothers. Thank y'all for the prayers, the thoughts, and the well wishes, and um, family is very grateful. Thank you.
We thank you for being on today, even though you're going through it. Um, Amar and Dwayne is backstage. Glenn, if you can let them in. But again, man, thank y'all. I mean, thank y'all for praying with me and praying for me. And I think that we did a great. I think we did a great job. I got to call Matt Carter on his birthday and remind him, thanks for helping us look at ourselves and evaluate ourselves. I think that's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? So, um, Dwayne and Glenn and Amar, anybody else still on that want to get a final comments before we close out?
All I can say is this was helpful for me, and I appreciate
You
everybody's
know,
advice and wisdom. And I just want to say this
yeah,
to
man.
Anthony.
Definitely. Today was just really refreshing for me personally, and I keep thinking about Ant, man, and listening to him here, he's such a motivation and encouragement, man. I don't know what that feels like, but recently my uncle here in New York lost his mom, and I remember him having a conversation with us, and he was saying, "Man, I have a conversation with God because I'm going to ask God for three things." Because I saw him weeping one day. His mom was 91. But she had a little complication, and they wanted to do surgery on her at the age of 91. Doctors wanted to go into her heart, and made a decision. He says, "No, I'm not gonna let you all do that to my mother at 91." And I saw him crying one day, and tears ran down his face, and he said, "Man," he was walking down the stairs, coming downstairs, and a voice just said to him, "I'm gonna take your mom." And just like that, he broke down. But then he said, "You know what, God, if you're gonna take her, I'm gonna ask you for three things. Let it be pain free, let her um, go in her sleep, and I think the other one is that you know let it be easy." And in her passing, God granted all three of those, because you know she was at the hospital, and the nurse said, she went and she asked her in the morning, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah." "Are you in pain?" "No." And all those were checked. And yesterday I came across a book that someone gave to him at the funeral, and the book is called The Gift of Grief. And I was going through that book, and one of the things I saw in there, that really helped me in my conversation with him is, like I always say, it says, because of course he got the book, but he just put it down. you know, he didn't take the
Right.
time to even go through it. But it says prioritize self care, and one of the things it says grief often depletes your energy, so it's important to nurture yourself, whether it's taking a walk, journaling, or simply resting. Self care is not selfish; it's necessary, and and that right there, um, I tend to use that as a way to just strike off the conversation with him to let him know, hey, man, hey, you're doing too much right now. Relax, take care of you. Go sit down, relax, go somewhere, and so forth. So I just wanted to put that out there to Ant Man because you're definitely an inspiration and such a motivation to us here. For me personally, every time I'm listening to you on this program, and so I want to encourage you, man. You know, continue in that self care path. You know, it's important to nurture yourself. You know, whatever you take to it to help you heal, do it. And not only that, people oftentimes give that, but I would say to you, man, journal it, man, so that you can have that info to share with others. Because you never know when someone else might go through the same thing that might need that information that you put to how you help, because it might be different with everyone, but every information is going to matter at some point in life for someone. So
So
that's all about it, man.
so I
Amen.
say
No, amen.
the cost of love is grief.
Hmm.
Because if you didn't love somebody, you couldn't grieve for them. So the cost of love is grief. And think about it. God, the creator of the universe, had to turn his back on his own son when his son was
Mm.
dying. And his son said, why have thou forsaken me? And God, because of, and I'm just paraphrasing, because of the grief, he didn't want to see the grief his son was going through, even though he knew he was a resurrection and a light. So the cost of love is grief. That's what I tell people all the time. That's what it is. And I think Dwayne, what was your closing remarks? I was heard what you said.
Oh, I just wanted, I was going to piggyback on what Glenn said. Just Anthony has been a big inspiration to me more and more, not just in dealing with Aunt Junior, but just his walk, man, is just incredible. Um, and and watching him and listening to him as he's walking through this time of uncertainty is also showing me um, how you walk through grief, loving somebody who is, your soul was tied to. And that's just amazing to me, That's why my prayer for him all the time is, Lord, pour back in everything that he has been depleted of and what he's depleting himself of. Because your analogy of God turning his back on Jesus, Jesus was on the cross grieving at the same time because of the love that he had for the Father and the fact that he wasn't able to um, embrace his presence because he was sin. That's why he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" So you're absolutely right, bro. Love is grief. Um, it really is. So I just pray that everybody on this line understand that God loves you dearly, um, and that He is poured into all of us today in such a way that help us to understand that He gives us the grace and the mercy to deal with the grief that we have to go through. But it's much more love flowing through us than we can ever imagine. So,
And take it
Yeah,
from me. If you don't
that's
take
great.
care of yourself, you might be laying in the hospital.
For
yeah, that's true.
real.
So take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
because I
Hey, you
didn't
know what?
dealt with a lot.
One more thing.
Go
One more
ahead.
thing. If you guys can hear me, if you guys can hear me, I want to share this with you. I read this and it really resonates. So someone said, when we understand that each day isn't one more day, but one more less, we start giving
Mm.
more value to what truly matters. And I remember, Anthony would call, and I'll be, we call a lot, and we call each other and text with, and I'll be on a route or something. I'll say, "Oh, I'll call him back," and I think that's probably one of the hardest things that I have to deal with on this process is that, man, what I wouldn't do for that call right now, the ones that I said I'll call him back, and we all do it, it's not something we could live. We can't walk on eggshells and live like that. But that's the process that I'm going through at this current present time. Shaq knows. In the morning times, it was calling kids or kids calling me, and we was doing this, whatever. But um, that's one of the struggles. And I don't even want to call it a struggle, but that's just a thought. It's just a thought. Like, man, sometimes I'll look at my phone like, dang, I ain't got no text, or whatever. But it's it's gonna be a process, y'all. And I'm through it all. You have to understand that right now, like Glenn was saying earlier. And I think we were on the line that time when him and his son had that little situation going on, and just his son doesn't know how blessed he is to have a father that's not working out of emotions, but yet manages in them. And he's trying to teach his son to manage them versus working through them. I mean, working out of them and from them. It's two different things. We all going to be emotional, but it's a matter of how you manage them, and don't allow them to dictate your actions. You manage them, you get a hold of them. You be like, this is just feelings. How Amar says one time, I think he said, the first thing you want to do is when somebody cuts you off or flips you off, you want to do it back. No, 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 no. Then you're jumping into their area. No, don't let them take you there. So that's emotions and feelings, right? So if we look at each day isn't one more day, but it's one less day than we had yesterday. It's one less day, right? So, but we start giving more value to what truly matters. And what truly matters is what we're doing on this line right now. Transparency, being accountable to one another, praying for one another, reaching out to one another, saying I'm here for you, brother. And not only saying it, but show up. We're showing up for one another, calling them. Hey, I'm checking in on you. Hey, I'm texting you. Hey, how you doing? I text Net last night. Hey, did they check him in before I went to bed? Hey, they check him in. Everything's good. Okay, yeah. She texts back. Yeah, hey, everything's good. Thank you. Whoop. But and that's what it's about. Taking advantage and taking opportunity of each and every day we have. Um, and like Amar was saying earlier about his uncle saying, well, they don't call me. Do you call them? You know, so it's not always, let's don't play that tit for tat, so it's amazing, man, what we all do on this line, how it helps each one of us. Beautiful. Thank you.
Hey, that's a blessing. Did we miss anybody else before we close out?
Hey, Shaq, one of the listener here on the listening online on the website, and man, she's a faithful listener for years. Deborah, she, I was talking to her a couple of days ago, and I called her yesterday. Called her a couple of days. Yesterday a couple of people came in my spirit, and I was calling them, because of what transpired early on this week on Monday. Um, Deborah lost her son-in-law, right? Her her daughter, husband, young man, very young, um, just left home, didn't make it to work, and nobody. When they work job call and they realize that he's not there, they call to see what it was going on. They realize that he didn't make it to work. They just found him dead in his car, and you know, and she's been very broken over it, grieving. So I've been checking in with her every day. I've been trying to call her to make sure that she's okay, but it's hard, and she's not doing too well. So I just want us to remember her in prayer, also. She's really broken from all of this. You know,
Well, let me pray for us. Father God, we thank you. You said out of all of our getting, get an understanding, God, as we pray for Deborah, God, and her daughter and the loss of their son-in-law and his mom and his family and their extended family. God, as we lift up Glenn, God, as he's dealing with all the stuff he's dealing with, God, and because you allowed him to be a mighty man of God and a stand up man of God, as we work with Anthony, God, as he his son, God, his son, the same way you had to turn your back because your son was weeping, God. God, wrap your arms around him, love on him, God, show up and show off, God. God, we thank you for Dwayne, God, and we thank you for DJ, God, picking up the phone and calling and checking on me, God. God, we thank you for Amar and his family, God. We thank you for MacArthur, God, who celebrate 39 years of life, God. God, we thank you for Will, who came on, God, and all the mighty men of God who came on the line today, God. And then, God, I thank you for allowing me to be in this hospital and get some rest. I thank you for the doctors, the nurses, and everybody who's in and out of this room, God. I pray for this whole hospital, for everybody who's in this hospital. There's a many days I said, pray for those in the hospital, pray for those who are homeless, pray for those incarcerated. And God, I'm one of those in the hospital right now, God, and pray for the homeless. So, God, we thank you on today. We thank you, God, for showing up. We thank you for showing off because you reminded us when two or three of us are gathered together in your name. God, you said you're going to be in the midst, God. So, Father God, as you are a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our pathway, continue to lead and guide us into all truth. And God, we'll be careful. Just give your name praise because one thing we understand all praise, honor, and glory belongs to you. God, I'm not going to even wait for the battle is over. I'm going to praise you right now for complete healing from the top of my head to the sole of my feet. Whatever's going on with my potassium, whatever going on with my body, God, I thank you in advance, God. God, we thank you even for the life we had with Alex and all those who've already passed away. God, we just want to say thank you. And God, we praise you, we magnify you. And God, I pray that this podcast touch so many souls, God, for they can understand from a man's perspective. Because a lot of times we hear from a woman's perspective, from a man's perspective. We love and we love hard. And God, we love our children and we love you. So, Father God, we give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory. In Jesus' precious name, amen and amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
Anybody
you,
else?
bro.
We good? Everybody good?
Good.
All right, man.
Bro,
I'm waiting on
yeah,
them to
man.
see what they're gonna
All
do,
the
and
results.
I'll
Yes,
check
sir.
in with y'all after they get through with these tests.
All
All
right,
right,
man. Love
fellas.
you,
All right, love
brothers,
All
you.
right.
man.
All
Peace.
right, man.
Peace.
You big, bro. Like you big.
All right.
Cool.
All
All
right,
right.
take care, fellas. Love you guys, man.